into the Phillies minor league system, signed a guy who just became a free agent, Brian Gordon, who pitched for them on Thursday. He's standing by with the Wendy Knicks.
Dan, they certainly did. Brian, it was a unique set of circumstances that landed you in a Yankees uniform. Has the surprise of the situation worn off yet?
Not at all. This is all just too surreal. I'm having the time of my life, and I'm just going to do my best, take my time with it.
You told me you turned to a lot of your colleagues here, including the other starting pitchers, CC Sabathia among them. What have these guys told you about the transition?
You know, just stay calm and just try to do my best to just do what got me here. Just stay comfortable and just stick to my strengths. And it's just been very helpful, and I'm very appreciative.
We're getting ready for baseball, Dan. A very relaxed Yankee dugout, as you can see. Back to you.
Jeff Baker, we're here on Father's Day. Tell us about your dad.
Yeah, father Larry Baker is military 22 years, and you know, one of the things I always appreciated about him, no matter where we were, was in the States or we were overseas in the Middle East, you know, and my mother both, they always made time for baseball, could always go out and have a catch, go out and take batting practice, you know, countless hours, and, you know, really appreciative of him, what they did, especially here on Father's Day.
You're hitting .500 against lefties this year. Tonight you're facing left-hander CC Sabathia. What's the key for you against him?
Yeah, you know, he's been dominant, you know, his whole career, and, you know, it's going to be a tough battle for us. You know, it's going to be tough at bats, but, you know, hopefully try to get a good pitch to hit. You know, try to see him up, and, you know, hopefully, you know, want to have his best command, and, you know, we can just work.
Jeff Baker, thanks. Dan, back to you.
Buster, thank you very much. The Yankees and the Cubs have some history. The 1932 World Series. We'll look back at some of the memorable moments of that series as the Yankees swept the Cubs. The Baseball Tonight gang will take you around the National League Central, maybe the most hotly contested race in baseball right now, and it's Father's Day. Yankee and Cub thoughts of what Father's Day means to them. Happy Father's Day to all the dads in attendance and watching at home on TV. Where else would you want to be on Father's Day but in a ballpark? The Cubs and the Yankees are coming up. NFL Showdown, presented by State Farm.
For a dad, there's nothing like taking your kid to the ballpark, teaching them the game, answering their questions, like, can I get a hot dog? Ice cream? Cotton candy? Bases loaded in the 6th. Can I go to the bathroom? Your team's rally just thwarted. What does 6-4-3 mean? Your team down 1, a man on first with nobody out. The batter swings away. Your son tugs at your shirt. You look down at him. Why aren't they bunting? You smile. Great question.
It is Father's Day. And it is Wrigley Field here on the north side of Chicago. The Yankees and the Cubs trying to settle this 3-game series. And there is, as you might expect, a sizable Yankee presence in the ballpark, although the majority, of course, are rooting for the hometown Cubbies. It's Father's Day, and on Father's Day, Major League Baseball players, managers, coaches, trainers, umpires, everybody helping to promote prostate cancer awareness and show their support by wearing blue wristbands, blue ribbon uniform decals. Special blue ribbon base jewels also will be used on the field as baseball tries to raise awareness of prostate cancer research and funding towards it as well. Joe Girardi from Peoria, Illinois, who grew up a Cubs fan and made his major league debut as a member of the Cubs, is back here in Chicago in his 4th season as skipper of the New York Yankees. We show you Joe Girardi's lineup right now, presented by Taco Bell. The red-hot Brett Gardner leads it off. Curtis Granderson with 21 homers batting second. Mark Teixeira with 21 homers batting third. Alex Rodriguez is the cleanup hitter. Robinson Cano batting 5th. Nick Swisher in right field batting 6th. Banged up but playing, Russell Martin batting 7th and catching. Eduardo Nunez filling in for the injured Derek Jeter batting 8th and playing short, and on the mound and batting 9th. Left-hander CC Sabathia. The starting pitcher for the Chicago Cubs tonight, Oral, is right-hander Randy Wells.
And Randy Wells got his first big league win back in 2009 on Father's Day, June 21st. He says the day he'll never forget. Now here he is pitching on Father's Day again. All those years in the minors, Dad was there to bail me out with a little money or take my car to the next city. To get that win on Father's Day, June 21st, 2009 was a huge day for him.
Wells ready to go. Gardner in the box, and we are ready for baseball here in Chicago. Gardner, a guy, as you can see, has been on a tear. And yesterday, defensively, we made one of the big plays of the game, throwing out a Carlos Pena at the plate to preserve a 1-run lead. At the belt, quickly 0-2.
As a matter of fact, Dan, he is the second best at defensive metric of preventing runs. He's prevented 13 runs this year. Second best of all outfielders in the major leagues.
Slashes it foul, third base side. And obviously the speed of Gardner. He gets to balls that a lot of people don't get to, and he made a fantastic throw yesterday on a ball he was charging. Really didn't have time to set his feet. He just caught it and fired and got Pena fairly easily at the plate.
Fast runner, efficient thrower.
High fly ball driven to deep right field and gone.
Fastball where Randy Wells tries to get it in. You see he leaves it right down the middle of the plate. That K-zone shows you when you're going to pitch with Randy Wells' stuff, you need to hit your spots. His velocity is below big league average. The movement is solid. But he needs to change speeds and hit his spots.
Spot wasn't down the middle, 0-2?
No, I don't think so.
Not the spot.
On an 0-2 pitch, Brett Gardner hits it out, his first career leadoff home run. You think of the Yankees as a big home run team. They lead the majors in home runs this year. Well, this is not the guy you think about. His 4th of the season, and the Yankees strike early. This guy is one of the guys you think about. Curtis Granderson, who is having a terrific season, 21 home runs. He shares the major league lead with the Blue Jays' Jose Bautista and the man in the on-deck circle right now, his own teammate, Mark Teixeira.
Teixeira has a little advantage because he's a switch hitter. He switches over. Granderson has 9 home runs against left-handers.
And he chases a ball outside. Wells rings him up. Defensively for the Chicago Cubs in the outfield and left, it'll be Alfonso Soriano. Reed Johnson getting a start in center. Marlon Byrd still on the DL. Lou Montañez in right field tonight. All right-handed batters against CC Sabathia. Aramis Ramirez, Starlin Castro on the left side of the infield. DJ LeMahieu out of LSU. Jeff Baker is at first base tonight. And Giovanni Soto does the catching. Mike Waddy telling us against Sabathia he wants every righty he can get in the lineup tonight, so that's why the lineup's a little bit different for the Cubs. Here's Teixeira.
Which is interesting because if CC really establishes his changeup early, it will be devastating these right-handed hitters.
There's a changeup from Wells that misses down and away. 2 balls and a strike. Some Yankee fans here, as you might expect. A lot of them Friday, even more of them yesterday afternoon. Record crowds at Wrigley. Better than 42,000 people each game. And this series will set a Wrigley Field weekend record for the biggest attendance in a 3-game series.
Sold tickets we're talking about, Dan. Exactly. Yes. No giveaways for this one.
No. You got to buy your way into the ballpark to see this series as Teixeira draws the 1-out walk. One thing that has been consistent throughout the 3-game series, nobody's getting booed louder than Alex Rodriguez. The run in on the home run by Brett Gardner. Teixeira draws the 1-out walk. And A-Rod chases a breaking ball. It's 0-1. A-Rod on the season, 13 homers, 42 runs driven in. Castro to his right, flip to second in time, and they'll get the lead runner, but nothing more. Well, as you watch tonight, you can also follow Buster Olney and Wendy Nix on Twitter. In addition, you can like us on Facebook at facebook.com/ESPN Baseball Tonight. Glad to have Buster and Wendy with us as always, and of course the Baseball Tonight gang as well. Carl Ravitch, Barry Larkin, John Crucker here. You'll get updates from them tonight leading into the 3rd and 6th innings. Some of the big stories from around baseball today. Here's Robinson Cano with 2 down and a man at first. Cano's numbers not quite where they were last year when he had a sensational season, but still putting up very good numbers. On his way potentially to another 30 homer 100 RBI season. Last year he had one of the best years arguably that any second baseman has ever had. Drove in 109 runs. Actually fell a homer short of 30 with 29 homers, 41 doubles. I mean, put up numbers, Bobby. You'd be happy if your corner infielder or corner outfielder had those kinds of numbers.
Anyone in the lineup, he could bat anywhere in the lineup and be productive, and I think he's going to have a big second half.
At the knees for a strike, 1-2.
Last year he was very disciplined, Robinson Cano. He only he had a walk for every 12 plate appearances. He's reverted back to the old habit of a walk every 24 plate appearances, and I think that changes your average because now pitchers know you'll swing the bat, so they throw more balls to you in swinging counts. You don't get the same pitches to hit.
A-Rod is going, and a swing and a miss by Cano to end the inning. The Yankees do get a one of the home run by Brett Gardner. An early lead for the big left-hander as CC Sabathia gets ready to take the mound. Presented by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. And in part by State Farm. State Farm agents are there when you need them. Find an agent or get a quote at statefarm.com. Welcome back to the great city of Chicago. We are at Wrigley Field. The Yankees on a home run by Brett Gardner to lead off the game have a 1-0 lead as we go to the bottom of the first here on Father's Day. Now look at the Cubs lineup presented by Taco Bell. Reed Johnson leads it off in center. Starlet Castro at short. Jeff Baker is playing first base tonight, batting third. Aramis Ramirez, the cleanup hitter, at third. Alfonso Soriano in left field, batting fifth. Giovanni Soto, the catcher, will bat sixth. Lou Montañez in right field, batting seventh. DJ LeMahieu at second base, batting eighth, and Randy Wells pitching and batting ninth. CC Sabathia 8-4 on the season, piling up the wins and the innings as always. We'll face Reed Johnson as we get underway in the bottom of the first. Johnson, who spent some time on the DL with the back spasms, is back with the Cubs, second stint with them. Also has been a Dodger for 5 years, was a Blue Jay. An immensely popular player wherever he has played. And he's even a little bit more popular right now here in Chicago. As he'll get the bottom of the first inning underway with a double.
Well, that's really a textbook swing on a high fastball, 94 miles an hour, and you see that Reed's able to hit that high fastball and keep it fair, getting those hands above the ball, looking like he's swinging up if you're a little league coach, but knowing if you're a professional coach that that's the way you have to approach a high pitch and hit it firmly.
Johnson really not an everyday guy. Gets some time at all three spots in the outfield, plays a lot against lefties, but gives his all the time. Here's Castro, part of the future of this Cubs organization, and I know a young player, Bobby, you've talked about on and off the air. How much talent do you think this young man has?
He has all the talent in the world, and he's batting second here with his team 1 run down, and I think he's experienced enough to handle the bat and hit this ball hard to the right side of the infield.
Hits it hard to left center field. Back to tag is Johnson. Catch made by Granderson. And into third on the fly ball goes Johnson.
You know, CC is one of the most dominant pitchers with a man on third and less than 2 outs, and he will grind it out right here. And he's also a dominant pitcher throughout his career. 15 starts this year in a row where he's gone over 109 pitches, over 100 pitches. And you can see Justin Verlander threw up another gem today, won his 9th. He's up there near the top.
Runner at third, 1 out. And a ground ball to short off the bat of Jeff Baker will get the run home, and the Cubs tie it. Nothing like a little get him on, get him over, get him in.
And with a 1-run lead, Joe Girardi in this ballpark had his infield back in the first inning, conceding a run. Baker saw that. Conveniently hit a ground ball to short that looks like an 0 for 1, but it drives in a run. 2 very convenient outs.
Aramis Ramirez takes outside, ball 1. The Cub cleanup hitter and third baseman has been hot lately, has started to improve his numbers, but boy, he had a terrible time driving in runs for the first couple of months of the season. And of course, what he's paid to do is drive in runs. He's driven in 100 or more 6 times in his career.
That last pitch is a pitch that he usually drives. It was a mistake by CC. It was up near the middle of the plate. He just overswung and swung right through it. That's the kind of pitch that shows you that he really is not on his game at the plate.
A fan in the first row of the second deck above first base. Unfortunately, it hit him right in the hands, and he dropped it down into the lower deck, and he's getting beaten up for it right now by the Wrigley faithful. That guy was the lucky recipient of the can of corn.
It might have been out of the Cubs' hands and into a Yankee fan. I don't know. Are those Cubs? Well, maybe into the Cubs. Okay.
Get an assist.
That's right. So should get an assist. You're right.
It's an assist.
This guy's happy. Right to the cell phone. You should have seen the catch.
You're on ESPN.
Full count. Reaching for it, tap towards second, and through the legs, an all or nothing kind of play there for Cano, and safely across is Ramirez.
Really was nothing there, Dan. That was a hit all the way off the end of the bat, with Cano playing toward second base and deep. This is just spinning in the direction of second base, but even a barehanded effort here does not make a play at first. Base hit all the way. Nice effort by Robinson. Nice placement by Ramirez.
So that'll extend the inning. A man on with 2 down. As Ramirez is awarded an infield hit.
Really like the way Soriano was swinging the bat in batting practice. Let's see if he can take it into the game.
Alfonso Soriano, the former Yankee, the only player in a major league history to play 500 or more games with both the Yankees and the Cubs. Of course, a much different player in his younger years with the Yankees. Stole a ton of bases. He doesn't run at all anymore. But he does have some good numbers against Sabathia, including 5 home runs in his career. Way up and away for ball 2.
Well, you could see just what Joe Girardi was telling us, that CC really hasn't had a feel for his cutter at all in the last 4 or 5 starts. Joe's concerned about him really getting away from his fastball because throwing too many cutters but not locating the cutter enough. Now he's pitching just fastball away and changeup away. Hitters could start sitting on that outside part of the plate.
Another weakly hit ball. This one, Sabathia bare hands, and will flip to first to end the inning. Cubs get a run, though, and they've tied it up. 1-1 your score at the end of an inning here at Wrigley. Welcome back to the second oldest stadium in Major League Baseball. Wrigley Field in Chicago, built in 1914, became the home of the Cubs in 1916. Fenway Park opened in 1912. And the old bleachers were built in 1937. That's when the ivy came in. That's when the second deck. Actually, I believe the second deck came in 1927. And the bleachers and the ivy came in 1937, if I'm not mistaken. Lights came in 1988, but the place has retained its charm. And it is the place to be here on the north side of Chicago. Nick Swisher, whose dad played for the Cubs for a few years, Steve, leads off the second inning for the Yankees in this 1-1 tie. And quickly a 3-0 count.
And you see that light creeping in on Nick Swisher's face here at Wrigley Field. The light comes between the decks, and there will be innings when on a right-hand pitcher you'll have a problem with sun in your eyes, even on a night game like this, because the sun is setting and it goes between the first and second deck and comes right into your eyes for about an inning and a half. I remember tugging my hat down really low to fight that.
Yeah, there's been a lot of building going on around here, and here's how the light comes in between. First baseman has trouble. People sweat up in the stands, but love it every day.
Hard to believe, but there have been some empty seats at Wrigley in some of the games earlier this season. None this weekend, but the Cubs are struggling. 29-41, and there have been many years where the ballpark is enough reason for people to come and fill it up. But they're getting a little bit restless. They want a winner after waiting over a century for a World Series championship. Playable in right center for Johnson. One down. Of course, one of the most unique elements in any ballpark at Wrigley. There are seats outside the ballpark. Rooftops will show in a second. That is Anno Cutuli, which roughly translated in Latin, I believe, means year of the Cub. Emus Cutuli, roughly translated, my Latin isn't what it used to be, and it didn't used to be any good, means roughly translated, let's go Cubs. The numbers there, I'll tell you about those in a moment, as Russell Martin takes a stride. You see the numbers 0-2, 65, 102. 2 years, 2 full seasons, 2010 and 9, since the Cubs made the playoffs. 65 years since they won the National League pennant. They were last in the World Series in 1945. 102 full seasons since they won the World Series. They had to add a column onto that sign a couple of years ago when they reached the century mark without winning a World Series championship. That hurts.
They'll want to knock 2 columns off some year.
And I think once they get there, it'll be easy. They'll do it a few years in a decade. Just have to get there.
It's been a while. 21 different teams have won since then, including the Yankees winning all 27 of theirs. The Cubs have been to the World Series 7 times, have lost them all. And the Padres have the next most appearances without winning a title. 2-2 the count on Russell Martin, the Yankee catcher. Has been battling some back stiffness in recent days. Played yesterday. Had a big collision at home plate. Carlos Pena called out on the play. Martin emerged, it seemed, unscathed. Castro. 2 down. I happened to be lucky enough to be in the seats the last couple of days here, and at the end of the game, a lot of fans file out. Some stay a little bit longer, and there was I know this is going to be shocking. There was a very loud Yankee fan walking around who was just hollering to anybody in a Cub hat or jersey, "I can't find my ring. Have you guys seen my ring anywhere?" "Oh, sorry, you guys don't have any rings." I mean, and said it, I mean, to 50 consecutive people who walked by him wearing Cub hats and Cub jerseys. And I will say, Cub fans, they're a pretty good-natured bunch. Maybe it comes with the territory, but they just kind of chuckled and slapped him on the back.
Calluses.
Yeah.
You get a few calluses.
Everybody seems to be getting along pretty well here this weekend. 1-1 the count on the shortstop, Eduardo Nunez.
Well, this is one of the jewels of interleague play. This is just fantastic to be able to see this.
Another play for Castro. And the inning is over. The Yankees go in order. Tied at 1 going to the bottom of the second. Bottom two tied at 1. Dan Schulman to Bobby Valentine, Oral Hershiser. Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. And the pitch ball one up and away to Giovanni Soto, the Cub catcher, as CC Sabathia looks for his 9th win of the season. That would tie him for the American League lead if he can pick that up. Justin Verlander picked up his 9th win of the season today. He has been nothing short of sensational in recent weeks.
Sensational arm, 99, great hook, feeling the changeup now. He's special.
Max Scherzer, John Lester also have 9 wins. Falls behind Soto 3-0. Soto hitting just .216, was on the DL recently, as so many Cubs seem to have been. Soto had a groin injury. And it's just inside, says Todd Tichenor, the home plate umpire. That's ball 4. Well, this is something that Oral talked about a little bit earlier. There's a perception that nobody's going to win 300 anymore, but among all pitchers in the last 30 years before age 31, CC Sabathia has the 3rd most wins. Only Burpelai 11 and Greg Maddux have more. There's Roger Clemens as well. He wound up at 354. Now, nobody's saying that Sabathia is going to wind up at 354, but the point is, let's start with you, Oral, at 165 right now, still shy of his 31st birthday. Is it realistic that he could win 300 games?
He's averaged about 16 a year so far. If he pitches till he's 40, that would only be about 14 in the next 9.5 years or so. He's got another month until he turns 31. He's taking better care of his body. The fitness program has been upgraded. He's always been very durable. His mechanics are very, very sound, especially firm on the front side when he lands and just launches the baseball, not using his arm as much as using his hips and his shoulders and the torque that's generated from the ground up. He's got a good shot.
His team has scored 12 or more runs for him 5 times this season. That doesn't hurt. To pitch for a team that's going to give you great run support always helps you get some W's. Bobby, what do you think about CC in 300?
It all depends on how badly he wants it. I think that he's the kind of athlete who can do it. His mechanic, as Oral mentions, is impeccable. He lands partly closed, just like Nolan Ryan did. I think that he'll be able to carry his arm.
Chopper to short, shovel to second one, on to first. Safe at first is Montañez.
Montañez gets down the line really well with a high hopper that Nunez feels and underhands the Cano efficiently, but they haven't worked that much together. Cano really was a little off balance when he came across the bag. Not the kind of cadence, rhythm, and teamwork you'd like to see in a double play, but it's only been 5 days they've been working together.
Very close play. Might have had him. Well, just bang, bang at first base. Tie goes to the runner, I guess. Montañez across in the fielder's choice. And here's DJ LeMahieu. Just a couple of weeks in the big leagues. He is out of LSU. Can play second or third. Mike Quaddy's comment about him pregame was it might be a little bit ahead of his time to be here in the big leagues right now, but then again, it might not. And injuries to the Cubs have necessitated a lot of call-ups from the minors. LeMahieu getting a shot. And Bobby, you watched him out taking ground balls, working on some defense before the game today.
Yeah, I like his hands. He's a big guy. He has soft hands, good movements around the bag, even though he didn't look totally familiar with the double play. He was working it nicely, understands the 1, 2, 3 steps of a double play.
Inside, a ball and 2 strikes. There's Mike Quaddy, who, like a lot of major league managers, has been mixing and matching and searching for the right combination, plugging in call-ups for the minors, in for injured veterans. Swing and a miss by LeMahieu. 2 down. No, we talked about CC and the possibility of him getting to 300 wins. Let's check in with Buster Olney down at the field.
Dan, I asked him about the possibility of reaching 300, and it took him about 0.2 seconds to say, no way, I couldn't do it. He talked about how the game has changed, but I talked with evaluators with other teams. They think he has a decent chance, in part because of his adaptability, that as he loses velocity, he'll find other ways to win, Dan.
And he's been durable and healthy over the years. He can opt out of his contract at the end of this season. This is year 3 of a 7-year deal with the Yankees. But there's a clause in it that says that Sabathia could opt out at the end of this year and become a free agent if he so chooses.
Is anybody going to pay him more than $23 million a year?
Maybe they won't pay him more. Maybe they'll give him more years.
Wow. Let him pitch until he's 44.
He has never had a losing season. He doesn't have a losing category in the postseason. Division, Championship Series, or World Series. All winning records.
Ball and 2 strikes on Wells. Won the Cy Young with Cleveland in 2007. And Sabathia has been in the top 5 in Cy Young balloting each of the last 3 years. 08 was with Milwaukee when he only spent about half the year in the National League, but he was so good. He finished 5th in National League Cy Young Award voting, and then he's been 4th and 3rd in his 2 years in the American League with the Yankees. Wells hits a 2-hopper to Alex Rodriguez. They force the lead runner, and the inning is over. A check-in with Carl in the Baseball Tonight gang when we come back.
Truck for the Yankees and Cubs tied 1-1 as we begin play in the top of the third. Just a couple of seconds. The big story in baseball, in fact, 2 of them. One involves a manager, one involves the game's best player. Albert Pujols late this afternoon trying to field a ground ball. Wilson Betemit ran into his left wrist. Preliminary reports are bad sprain. Somebody who spoke with Pujols says it looked a lot worse than it currently felt, but the swelling was too big, John.
Yeah, that's going to be a difficult one because that's his bottom hand when he's hitting. As a right-hand hitter, that's the power hand. And that could be something. It's hindered Derek Lee throughout his career because of that. Cliff Floyd was never the same after that happened to him. So, Barry, this could be devastating to the Cardinals.
It certainly could be devastating to him. But, you know, they've had a lot of injuries. So the pitching staff, to all the players, they found a way to win ball games. But certainly, if he's going to miss any time, they're going to certainly miss him.
And Edwin Rodriguez, the Florida Marlins manager, resigned earlier today. The team had 1 win. In fact, they still have 1 win in the month of June.
Yeah, and I think Edwin's one of those guys that, you know, this might be one of those things where he said, you know what, the job's not getting done, and I need to step down because it's my fault.
All right, and there are reports that Jack McKeon could take over. Dan?
Carl, thank you very much. That is a fair ball as CC Sabathia never dropped the bat, never moved, so he's retired for the first out. Joe Girardi is coming out, and you would imagine that what he is going to say is that that ball hit Sabathia.
Looked like it went backward and then it went forward. Maybe it hit off the plate. Yep.
Fair ball.
Just right off the plate. Never hit his front foot. Yeah, the soft dirt right behind home plate and then went fair.
Yep.
It's not where it starts, it's where it finishes.
And Sabathia realizing the error of his ways right now in the Yankee dugout.
They're talking about, let's measure that one. Boy, you really can't hit. Talking about your great power, you just hit 112 feet.
His last 3 swings in batting practice were in the right field bleachers. 3 in a row.
Brett Gardner shows bunt and takes a strike.
Here's a little thing. Your pitcher who's not used to hitting swings at the first pitch, fouls one off. You come up as the leadoff hitter. You're going to take a pitch. Might as well let everybody think you're going to bunt.
The role of a leadoff hitter, right? One of the little elements that a leadoff hitter has to execute properly. Helping out the pitcher.
I think you have to always be concerned with the pitcher getting enough of rest, making sure that the pitcher stays in his rhythm.
But the fake bunt, Bobby's pointing out the fact that he's gaining strategic advantage. Right. He knows he's going to take and delay and not make it out on the first pitch, but if he knows he's going to do that, might as well draw the defense in and help himself later in the at-bat.
Exactly.
One of the conversations that, again, it's New York. Everything gets discussed and discussed and discussed again. Brett Gardner is in the leadoff spot for the most part right now, and he is hitting absolutely great. Will he stay there over the course of the season? Derek Jeter's on the DL. Jeter's hit some first and some second. Swisher's been the leadoff hitter at times against lefties. How do you see the Yankee lineup shaking out once Jeter comes back?
He'll bat leadoff.
Gardner with another hit.
But that young man is going to play for a long time. He's going to be a very productive player, and he's going to play the majority of his time as a leadoff hitter. But when Derek comes back, going for his 3,000th, he'll be in that leadoff spot. And then there'll be a decision made sometime in July or August. What is the best mix for this team? And it very well might be with Gardner leading off and Jeter batting ninth.
Jeter batting ninth.
Not
Jeter batting second.
No, I don't think he hit second with this guy.
Yeah.
Well, by then we'll have 25 home runs batting second, and the guy batting second in the Yankee lineup always does a great job.
Derek Jeter, by the way, is down in Tampa. He is not with the team on the DL right now with a calf injury and getting some treatment down in Tampa. Gardner, of course, is a threat to run, although his stolen base numbers are really mediocre, to be honest with you, for a guy with his kind of speed. I mean, you watch Gardner go down the line or go first to third or first to home. He can fly, but he's been thrown out 10 times this year. He has 14 stolen bases.
It's all about rhythm. Rhythm when you're hitting, rhythm when you're pitching, rhythm when you're stealing bases. And he never really got into a good rhythm because he wasn't on enough. So he's forcing the issue, hitting 200 early in the season when he would get on, he would try to do something. He never got into that space and time, knowing when to go and when not to. You never accelerate at full speed running from first to second. It's all about your start and your finish to steal a base.
Granderson hits one to second. Double play. Inning over. Still tied at 1.
Camelot, the Taj Mahal of baseball. But more than a ballpark, Wrigley Field is a legend, an icon, a dump. Very smart people are starting to say that this Valhalla is falling apart, fraying out, wearing down, just like the team. But try telling that to the Cubs fans who love their field as much as their team. It'd be Eden all over again if they could ever say, win the series more often than every century or so.
Back at Wrigley Field, as we mentioned earlier, the second oldest park, built in 1914. The Cubs moved in 1916. Such a unique feature. The rooftops across Waveland and Sheffield Avenue. You are looking from Waveland Avenue behind the left field fence where people buy tickets to sit in seats on top of buildings across the street, as they do across Sheffield Avenue in right field as well. And you know what? That's not a bad seat. You're not in the ballpark there. You're across the street on a building. And that's a pretty good looking seat up there.
I was coaching for the Cincinnati Reds back in '93 when Davey Johnson was managing, and Tom Browning in the 4th inning was up on that one of those roofs waving to the bench. Got back in the 5th inning. Davey didn't know he had left.
Jay Johnstone has been up there, who was a Dodger player and Cub, and Roger McDowell has probably been up there, I think. Now the pitching coach, reliever for the Mets.
0-2 the count on Reed Johnson. Well, it almost looks like you're sitting in the left field bleachers in a stadium, in a normal stadium, which most of which obviously are much larger than Wrigley Field. The fans are right on, those in the stadium, in the ballpark I should say, are right on top of the action here, like few other parks. Johnson grounds one down to third to Alex Rodriguez for the out. Orel is a visiting player. What was the experience like?
Absolutely fantastic. Walking out of the bus, looking at the flags to make sure the wind wasn't blowing in or out, and then going to the locker room, even though they were a little small and a rusty nail at times as they go through it. It's just a fantastic place to put a uniform on and walk through the tunnels and come out into this scene.
One of the few places, actually, as you're walking with your spikes from the clubhouse to the dugout, you're walking on concrete. You're walking in those hallways that other great players over the 100 years of this building have walked. I think it's fabulous.
Players like Rogers Hornsby walked through. Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig in the 1932 World Series when the Yankees were here. And that means something to the players. That's not just the three of us up here saying, oh, isn't this great? The players, the visiting players, talk about how excited they are to come play here, especially if they're a player that hasn't played here much, if they're an American League guy who only gets to play here maybe once or twice in his career.
And remarkably, Mickey Mantle, Ted Williams, two of the greatest players to ever play, never played in this ballpark because the Cubs weren't in and Joe D, because they weren't in the World Series. National League team is not represented by the Cubs, so Joe D never got to play at Wrigley Field. Mickey Mantle, Ted Williams, what a shame.
And anybody who's played in this ballpark has probably hit their head on the dugout. They are very low. And so when you look up to see something, as far as especially a fly ball to the outfield, you hit your top of your head all the time on the dugout. The dugout height is probably only about 6 foot. When you go to stand up, you're sitting there, you're going to hit your head on that cement.
Well, Bobby, you referenced the walk from the visiting clubhouse to the field. It's unique. It's not fancy. And it takes a while because you got to keep going. The
and
visiting
they put some turf down there, but there's the concrete right at the end.
The visiting dugout is literally near the concourse where the fans get into the ballpark, but it's elevated above it. You have to take a big long stairwell up to get there. And Starlin Castro is shaken up after that foul ball. And this is the last thing the Cubs want to see right now.
And this is one of the few cutters that CC has thrown today that has gotten inside on right-handed hitters. Castro swings over the top of it and hits a line drive right off his front ankle, and that's going to leave a mark. Ouch.
Just 21 years of age. This is one of the biggest reasons why optimistic Cub fans think the future is bright. As he lines the ball to right center field, it's down for a base hit. The Cubs are struggling this year. Already a lot of people are saying, well, wait till next year and let's figure out some reasons to be excited about the future. This is reason number one.
I'd pay to see him play every day. He's a fabulous hitter, does a great job in the field, and tries to come back in, not with a cutter, but with a fastball. He's able to clear his hands because he uses his body so well. You see him getting off his back foot, getting firm on the front side so that he clears his front hip to move those hands and get the head of the bat where it needs to be to drive that ball to right center field.
Jeff Baker, the batter. Baker also on the DL recently, hitting .340 on the season, hitting almost .500 against lefties this year. 23 for 47. Versatile guy too defensively. A little bit late on that as he sends it foul down the right side.
He's swinging the bat with a lot of confidence. He is locked into every pitch. Nothing is getting by him. Not only the velocity of the ball is not getting by him, but the information that the pitcher is giving him as far as when the ball's coming to the plate, he's picking up everything. I'm sure the ball looks like a watermelon to him right now.
And you know, we talked about Castro. He's on first base having trouble reading the move of CeCe.
Back goes Swisher. Castro had gone halfway, so he makes his way back to first.
A lot of people say that hitting comes natural, and I think it's true with some guys. If you practice long enough and get your 10,000 hours in at an early age, you could start to be a natural type of hitter. But base running and base stealing takes experience, and you can't teach experience. Sterling Castro's out there against a very veteran left-hander who's varied his move, gave him a quick step last time, gives him a big leg kick, and he's very confused. Going back to first when he lifts his big leg up, or when he has a big leg kick with his big leg. That was a quick step, so there's nothing to do.
Ramos Ramirez, the batter, had an infield hit his first time up. Runner goes, and it is fouled off by Ramirez. And Martin a little bit shaken up.
Well, that with the runner going, Martin's coming up to receive that ball as Ramirez swings in on his follow through, hits Martin with the bat in the side of the head. The ball was fouled off. Martin did not see the bat on the follow through coming through, and it whacks him in a very awkward position and a solid hit right behind his ear.
Martin, as we mentioned, has been dealing with some back trouble, missed 7 games in the last week and a half with that, and then also yesterday was on the receiving end of a pretty violent collision, charging Brett Gardner, coming home Carlos Pena. Gardner's throw, and Martin hangs on and pumped up, shows the ball to Pena before making his way to the dugout. That was the inning ending out. But Martin's kind of he's a feisty, tough guy. He plays baseball with kind of a football player's mentality.
And he had the plate blocked, and then he opened up his left foot so that the swinging gate opened up so he didn't get knocked over.
Liner into center field, a base hit for Ramirez, who is 2 for 2. Castro to second. So 2 on, 2 out for the Cubs. Let's check in with Wendy Nix.
Dan, I asked Martin about that collision yesterday, especially in light of his lingering back issues, and he joked that he actually felt better today than he had in quite some time. He said, I swear I'm not kidding when I tell you I think it loosened me up.
Well, you don't hear that perspective every now and again. He got loosened up all right. And of course, these home plate collisions have been a big topic of conversation ever since the season-ending injury to Buster Posey. Swing and a miss by Alfonso Soriano.
And that was a situation where Pena actually came up with a forearm like a linebacker might, with a guard who's pulling, and he had full force of his speed and of his forearm, but Russell got out of the way by turning and opening up his left foot.
1-1 on Soriano. He grounded out his first time up. There's Carlos Pena, the Cubs first baseman, out of the lineup tonight because he has struggled mightily against lefties. Has never really hit Sabathia in his career. And Jeff Baker hits lefties so well, so Pena gets the night off to this point. Soriano with a high fly ball to left. Gardner running out of room.
Soriano took that batting practice into the game.
They had a good feeling about him watching him earlier today, huh?
Yeah, he had a good swing in the first at bat. It was just a change up off the plate. He hit it off the end of the bat. That time he centered it up. 3 runs for the home team.
Now a liner up the alley in left center off the bat of Giovanni Soto. And the catcher chugs into second with a double.
Alfonso Soriano's been a very good hitter his career and very good on the high pitches. Earl, when you want to make a pitch in the K zone, where do you want it to be?
Not there to him.
Once again, having trouble getting in with a cutter. Russell Martin wanted this in. Instead, he left it out over the plate. It's a pitch up and out over the plate, and Soriano knows exactly what to do with that. Turn it into a souvenir.
The Cubs lead 4-1 here in the bottom of the third after that 3-run homer by Alfonso Soriano. Giovanni Soto follows it up with a double, and now here's Lou Montañez against a struggling CC Sabathia.
Russell Martin forced that ball inside, Earl. He was setting up way in. Even though it was the first pitch of the at-bat, he wants CC to get to that third base side of the plate.
Grounder to third, waiting for it Rodriguez, and the inning is over. But not before the Cubs get 3 on the home run by Soriano. It's a 4-1 lead for the Cubs. But it's the heart of the order coming up in the 4th for the Yankees.
The game of baseball on Father's Day has a great connection for me because Baseball is that one thing that I always did with my dad.
My dad was the one who always was out there to throw batting practice to me, play catch with me.
To have a father who's been there and done that, somebody who's actually played the game, know what it's like, and to be able to have a father like that in my life, I couldn't be more blessed.
Great look by Nick Swisher there back in the day. His dad, Steve, former big league player and a member of the Chicago Cubs for 4 seasons back in the 70s. Happy Father's Day to all here as we go to the 4th inning. A 4-1 lead for the Cubs. Want to say happy Father's Day to my dad watching back home in Toronto. When we mentioned today, Father's Day, a big initiative for Major League Baseball, raising awareness for prostate cancer research. My dad is a prostate cancer survivor. Dad, I love you, and a little under the weather today, but he's watching baseball back home tonight. Tonight's Father's Day tributes are brought to you by One A Day. It's just a real father and son sport, isn't it? I mean, we've had some great shots around the ballpark tonight of all kinds of dads and kids taking in the ball game.
I got to see my cousin and his son here at the game. I know you're here, Dan, with your son.
Great diving catch by Aramis Ramirez to rob Mark Teixeira.
And that's what they come to see. Great plays by major leaguers.
Well, this play starts with the defensive positioning. He's over there in the 6 hole close to the shortstop, and Teixeira, normally a pull hitter, doesn't pull this one, but Ramirez right there with great reactions, great read and eye-hand coordination on catching that ball. A little tip of the cap from Randy Wells helped him out.
Now strike taken by Alex Rodriguez. A-Rod reaching at a fielder's choice in the first. The Yankees get a run very early. A leadoff home run by Brett Gardner. They have done virtually nothing since against Randy Wells. Meanwhile, the Cubs have hit CC Sabathia hard, most notably the 3-run home run by Alfonso Soriano. The numbers continue to climb for Alex Rodriguez. Now 1,800 runs in his career. 17th all time. He's already in the top 10 in Major League history in both home runs and RBIs.
All those home runs, none of them here at Wrigley. Yet.
So Wrigley's not in the book.
Yet. Actually, that ball was so close to hitting him in the previous pitch. Sometimes he would claim it hit him and go to first, but not here at Wrigley. Said, no, that hit my bat. We'll call it a strike.
Not much of a breeze right now, just a little bit out toward left field after the wind was blowing in the last couple of days. There's ball 4. ESPN's coverage of Major League Baseball continues this week. Tomorrow and Wednesday nights, first at 7 Eastern. On Monday Night Baseball, it'll be the Yankees again as they continue their interleague road trip. They will take on the Cincinnati Reds. And then Wednesday Night Baseball presented by Sears Lawn and Garden at 8 Eastern. The Philadelphia Phillies head to St. Louis to take on the Cardinals. Monday and Wednesday Night Baseball on ESPN. Again, Albert Pujols suffering a sprained left wrist today in a collision at first base. So we'll have to wait and see on his prognosis. That's fair ball off the bat of Cano. Throw to second. Safe there. Safe at first.
With a 3-run lead, you want to get it out on that play, or it'll get the second out and get through this lineup. Giovanni Soto makes a good throw to second base, and they call Castro off the base by coming up in front of the base here on this pivot. He caught it while he was off the base. What you really want to do is have your left foot on the base so you could step with your right foot. He had his right he didn't even have his right foot on the base. He took his left foot off the base too early, and that's a fielder's choice, no error. He hasn't practiced that play enough.
He could have stretched out onto his right leg, caught the ball with his foot still on there, and then immediately planted and thrown.
You want to touch space with your left foot.
Yep.
And step with your right and throw.
Have the right out,
as though you're a second baseman.
Exactly.
So he just didn't know what he was doing there.
So in trying to get 2, didn't end up getting anybody. And again, no errors, you say, on the play. Just scored as a fielder's choice, but it's runners at first and second with 1 out. The Yankees threatening here. The batter is Nick Swisher.
That 4th out can be tough against a lineup like the Yankees. But you really have to work hard to get through this lineup now.
They made one great double play.
Well, there's been nothing easy this inning. The line drive at Teixeira could have been a hit very easily. Wells doesn't have a lot of confidence about his stuff. All of a sudden now he walks A-Rod with a 3-1 slider, so he's kind of pitching away from contact. Now he gets a little chopper out in front. Oh, I'm a little confident about my stuff now. I'm starting to make him hit it weakly, but he doesn't get an out.
There's a base hit through the right side for Swisher. Rodriguez around third will score on the RBI single that makes it 4-2.
Wells is not a strikeout pitcher. He pitches to contact. He's given up 5 home runs in 26, 27 innings so far this year. That's been kind of injury prone. And right here, he leaves the ball up and Swisher deposits. Yeah, I know it's a ground ball. Could have been a double play, but when it's hit this hard, it finds holes a lot easier. 1-2 hops and you're through the infield. And you've got yourself a rally for the Yankees and a jam for Wells.
A run in, 2 men on, still only 1 out. The batter is Russell Martin. The chant of "Let's go Yankees" can be heard here at Wrigley Field, and the Cub fans are getting upset, and that's why you hear the booing. They're trying to drown them out with booing. They're hearing pretty big numbers here this weekend, and they're not shot.
I thought it was refreshing when we had our meeting with Mike Quaddy, the Cubs manager, when he talked about how during the game he even takes a moment every once in a while just to feel this atmosphere. For them, it's like a playoff atmosphere to have the Yankees in town and to really know you're in the big leagues when the pinstripes are around.
But you know, the atmosphere that I was feeling here, Earl, was just what you were expressing. The count went to 2-0. Things weren't going well. A base hit by Swisher. Wells has to come over and back up home plate. He has the long walk back to the mound. Maybe a little company. Maybe send in the third baseman to talk to him. Maybe send out the pitching coach at that time to restart this thing instead of continuing the ball going down the hill the wrong way.
Is that another step in the development of and he's a kid like Starlin Castro. He's your shortstop, but he's only 21. Here comes the catcher, Soto, out to talk to him. But is that something that eventually Castro needs to take upon himself?
Someone does. The catcher does, the pitching coach does, or the corner infielder shortstop. Soto saw that ball hung, that slider. That was a 3-run homer waiting to happen. He said, hey, this guy's not concentrating on delivering the ball the way he needs to. I'm glad Giovanni picked up on that. Let's start fresh. It's 2-2. We don't want to go 3-2. We want to get him out right here on this pitch. Give me a good sinker. We're out of here with a double play. Concentrate.
Runners at first and second, 1 out. Went with a slider and he bounced it in. Now the count is full.
Well, that visit was all about overthrowing. His outing since he's come back from the DL, Wells, he's been overthrowing and not worrying about location. In his last side work, they worked very hard on let's just hit your spots, because when you throw in the mid 80s and you top out in the high 80s, overthrowing is not going to do you any good, because you're not going to get to a velocity that's going to make you better. You have to hit your spots and change speeds, and I'm sure Soto was reminding him location first, stuff second.
Runners will be going. Live.
Ball 4 to load the bases. The Yankees with a run in, bases loaded with 1 out. A visit here as pitching coach Mark Riggins comes to the mound to talk with Randy Wells.
Randy Wells needs to pitch to contact. He needs to work the edges of the plate, but he needs to start with strikes. You have to remember, this Yankee lineup is one of the more disciplined lineups in baseball. Yes, they have power. Yes, they lead the majors in home runs, but they are also up there in walks. Their on-base percentages through the roofs, because if you don't throw over the plate, they won't swing.
An end to a beautiful day here in Chicago as we move towards evening. About 20 minutes after 8 local time. We're here at Wrigley Field. Jam-packed, better than 42,000 for the rubber match of this 3-game series between the Yankees and Cubs. A big home run by Alfonso Soriano gave the Cubs a 4-1 lead, but the Yankees have scored a run here in the top of the 4th. They've got them loaded with just 1 out for their shortstop, Eduardo Nunez. Nunez filling in for the injured Derek Jeter. A work in progress defensively, but he is a threat with the bat.
I think he's a regular player at the major league level, Dan, and these type of moments are going to only boost his stock in Joe Girardi's mind.
Ball and a strike on Nunez, hitting .253, couple of homers. And a good eye there as he takes low.
Winning and losing is not about pitching good games. Winning and losing is in moments, and this is one of Randy Wells' moments tonight. There's 4 or 5 in a game. This pitch and a few more are it for him.
Shakes off his catcher twice. Let's see what he wants. Chopper toward third. And the force out at third is what Ramirez will get as another run comes in to make it 4-3. Right play?
Well, he was a step and a half in front of the base, so he has a chance of going home and cutting off the run with a good throw, knowing he's not going to get 2 once he has to retreat. It's a high hopper that he has to come in front of the base. Retreating will not allow him to get 2. So he has to figure out what he's going to do to either try to get 2 or cut off the run. He did neither, just stepped on third. And that's the thought that I had too.
Good thing you just thought it. It sure looked like with the replay you could see where the runner Cano is. It sure looked like Ramirez had a play at the plate. Now Sabathia, and again, in spite of what we saw in his first at bat, CC is he's a tough hombre with the bat.
He can swing the bat.
Yes, he can. A big man with big power who takes hitting seriously and has hit some tape measure home runs in his big league career. June 21st, 2008. Well, with the Indians playing at Dodger Stadium, Sabathia hits a ball an estimated 440 feet. One of his 3 major league home runs.
He hit that where Willie Stargell used to hit him. Darryl Strawberry.
He's not as selective as the other hitters in this Yankee lineup, though, so you can, in fact, get him to chase now that there's 2 strikes. We all make mistakes, you know, Earl. I said that DiMaggio and Williams didn't play here. They both played here in the 47 All-Star game.
Soriano at left, and the inning is over. The Yankees get 2 back, and it's a 1-run game in Chicago. Cubs 4 and the Yankees 3. Let's go down to the field level now. Wendy Nix with Joe Girardi.
Joe, CC forced to pitch in some traffic in that third inning. The home run notwithstanding, what have you seen from your starter so far?
Well, it looks like he's had a little trouble commanding his fastball, and when he's missed the spot, they've hit it. You know, the hits that they had, have most of them been on fastballs. Just a little bit better command, and he should be all right.
Phil Hughes made a rehab start tonight. What's the takeaway from his outing?
Well, he went 4 1/3 innings. He had 7 strikeouts, and we had heard he was up to 95 miles an hour, so it looks like his velocity's back, and that's a great sign.
Joe, thank you. Dan?
Thank you, Wendy. That was FaceTime presented by Edward Jones as DJ LeMahieu begins the inning with a ball sliced down the right field line for a hustle double.
Joe Girardi prophetic about fastball command. CC most of the time on his hits tonight have been all fastballs up near the middle of the plate. That wasn't too far up, but it was in the middle. And that's that cutter or four-seamer that he's not getting in on righties. His last outing, he was dominant with that down and in fastball to righties and then a slider out of that same window. Tonight, he does not have that.
Randy Wells looking to advance the runner. Takes high ball 1.
This is a situation where ideally you want to bunt the ball to third base, make the third baseman come in and field this ball. Runner doesn't have to run, he has to read it.
The ball gets down, dies on the grass, and the Yankees do get the out after a bit of a wrestling match for the baseball down the third base line. But Wells credited with a sacrifice. LeMahieu takes third.
That ball had a little backspin on it. It dies in the grass as Alex bends down for it. Russell takes it away from him, makes a strong throw to first that Cano picks in the dirt. Here comes Alex. I'll take it. You take it. I've got it. And Cano saves the day.
Yeah, Alex was not very decisive on his charge there. That ball went up in the air, and that was awfully high, and you saw him take that stutter step on the last replay. He could have been more aggressive and maybe been the captain on that play instead of the observer.
The Yankees bring the infield in, now trailing 4-3 in the bottom of the 4th. Runner at third, 1 out. Reed Johnson, the batter. He's doubled and scored and grounded out. Missed outside for ball 1. Johnson appearing down to Ivan De Jesus, his third base coach, to see what's up.
You don't usually see the infield in this early in the game at Wrigley Field, but the Yankees understand that the middle of the lineup of the Cubs isn't something you're really fearful of. You don't really worry about getting another man on base here.
Grounded to third. There freezes the runner and takes the out at first. 2 down. So it'll be up to Starlin Castro with 2 outs. Even though the Cubs have 4 runs, they've had chances to do more damage and are just 1 for 5 with the runners in scoring position tonight.
You're going to see some breaking balls, off speed stuff, and fastballs off the plate to this young man.
In the hole, it's short. Going to be a long throw for Nunez, and it's right on the money. A very good play by Eduardo Nunez, and the Cubs leave a man on at third. All on ESPN, presented by Taco Bell, which is conveniently located right across the street from Wrigley Field. That works out nicely for our sponsor. If you guys are hungry, now's the time to ask for some Taco Bell to be delivered up here, by the way. Parking is at a premium around Wrigley, to say the least. One hopper back to the mound off the bat of Gardner, speared by Wells for the out. Time now for more FaceTime, presented by Edward Jones. Buster Olney with Cubs manager Mike Quade between innings.
Mike Quade, so far 4 runs against CC Sabathia. What do you see in your at-bats against him?
Well, and we've done a good job handling left-handers this year, and fortunately we're off to a good start against him, and 4 more would be even better. But, you know, Reed got us off to a good start, and we've executed pretty well. He wasn't able to drive in the run there, but he's a tough hombre, and there's plenty of baseball left, so we need to continue to keep the pressure on him.
It looked like in the next half inning some confusion on defense. What did you see there?
Well, you know, and it's the mistakes of youth. I mean, there's mistakes that really irritate me, and then Cassie just trying to be too quick and get greedy and try and get a double play, you know, in a situation where you got Cano running and just take the out and see what develops after that. So, and it ends up costing us a couple of runs possibly. So those are the kind of things that we're going to try and clean up, and we'll be a better club when we do.
Mike, thanks. Dan, back to you.
All right, Buster, thank you. Those are the kinds of things the Cubs have to clean up. They are not a good defensive ball club. Castro's got a wealth of ability, but a mistake made by a young player. He's committed 15 errors this year. 2-1 the count out of Granderson. 8 of the 15, Bobby, on throws. What does that tell you?
Well, that tells me he doesn't know the speed of the runners, and he's catching balls, and maybe balls that he should hold on to, he's throwing when he has no play at first.
Granderson pops one up, shallow left center. Castro backpedaling. It's called off by Soriano. 2 down.
That is sometimes just trying to do too much. He has great range. He'll make fielding plays in the outfield where he really doesn't have a chance for the runner, but he'll still throw it, and he'll throw it erratically to first base. And you know, he's a guy. He's a guy I'd like to watch develop. That play at second base, he had the idea of what he wanted to do. He just didn't do it in timing. So his footwork was off. He was off the base when he caught the ball. Consequently, a big inning.
Mark Teixeira, the batter. Teixeira has walked and lined out. He was robbed by Aramis Ramirez an inning ago. And a ground ball to second. LeMahieu recovers, and the inning is over as the Yankees go in order in the top of the 5th. Bottom of the 5th inning. The Cubs 4, the Yankees 3 in the rubber match of this interleague series. Jeff Baker, the number 3 hitter and first baseman for the Cubs, leads it off against CC Sabathia. Baker tonight is grounded out, driving in a run back in the first. He's also hit a fly ball to right. He'll be followed by Aramis Ramirez and then Alfonso Soriano. Sabathia got rocked in the 3rd inning. The 3-run home run by Soriano. 8-4 on the season. Elevates the fastball at 95. Baker fouls it back.
With no left-handed hitters in this lineup, you haven't seen CC throw his curveball tonight.
Got the fastball in on him, well located, fouled off again.
And I think that's a mistake. CC needs to mix his pitches. I think he's getting a little stubborn with his fastball. He knows he's not throwing it well, and he knows his foundation is fastball location. But he could be mixing in a few more breaking balls and changeups, and then maybe find the feel on that fastball.
He heard us.
One thing about not having the fastball location, he still has the velocity. So even if he goes to the changeup and to the breaking ball and shows that he can command those 2 pitches, then he can get away with some of the erratic fastball command. But if he keeps a hard head and just says, I'm going to keep throwing hard, 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 and misses his spots, they're going to be on him.
Did not go. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And this could be a perfect example. He's done, he's listened to Bobby and said he needs to throw some more breaking balls. He's thrown back to back, and now he doesn't have to be so perfect with this fastball if that's what he decides to throw right here. He's got the change of speeds that is to his advantage of keeping the hitter off balance.
Got it. Baker retired for the first out. As we mentioned, Joe Girardi's from Peoria, Illinois. Grew up a Cubs fan. He talks about what it means to him for the Yankees to be here on Father's Day.
It is special that we're going to be in Chicago, because that was where my father used to take us to about 5 or 6 times a year. And we were a very middle-class family with 4 boys and a girl, and he'd take all the boys up there for the important days, whether it was bat day or whatever it was, and he would spend all the money in his pocket taking care of us. So I think it is special that we're going back to Chicago, where I learned about professional baseball.
Tonight's Father's Day tributes are brought to you by One A Day. Joe Girardi saying as a kid his 2 favorite Cubs were Jose Cardenal and Ron Santo. And of course then Girardi struck gold a little bit later when he was drafted by the Cubs and made his major league debut with them. How lucky can a guy get? Played for the Cubs in 2 different stints.
And the Yankees, and now managing the Yankees after the Florida Marlins. He knows he's a lucky guy. He's also a very talented guy and very good manager of a Major League Baseball team called the New York Yankees.
Sinking liner into center, a base hit for Ramirez. The bat went into the dugout and evidently hit DJ LeMahieu, the Cubs' second baseman tonight, in the left arm.
Off the end of the bat, and the head of the bat was going faster than the ball. Only problem is the head of the bat went into the dugout.
Soriano a chopper off the plate. Here comes Martin. Got to hurry. And he gets Soriano 2 down into second. Ramirez. So the broken bat by Ramirez helicoptering into the Cubs dugout, the far end of the third base dugout, and hitting DJ LeMahieu.
continues to get a little bit of medical attention. Hopefully nothing serious. Appears to be all right, just on the surface looking at it. A little bandage on the inside of his left elbow, it looks like. 2 down for Giovanni Soto. Liner to left field and caught by Gardner to end the inning. 5 in the books at Wrigley Field. A 1-run lead for the Cubs. A Baseball Tonight update on the other side.
Provided by DirecTV. Get the most baseball in HD on DirecTV. A beautiful shot tonight. Certainly the way the Cubs are playing. Crowd happy. They are up by a run, 4-3, as we are set to begin play in the top of the 6th. Some pitching performances today of note. How about James Shields, his 5th complete game this season?
Absolutely fantastic, using all his pitches, keeping it down, and conserving his pitches to go deep.
4 hits, strikes out 10 against the Marlins, who lose another 1-run game and are now 1-18 in the month of June. Also, Justin Verlander on this list, and that's not a big surprise, Barry.
Yeah, Justin Verlander has been the man. They're playing well.
He's playing outstanding, and I think it's important for us to note on Baseball Tonight, Bobby Valentine identified Brett Gardner and Alfonso Soriano as 2 guys to watch, and each one has gone deep. So I want to know what's in the Valentine crystal ball.
I think it's that manager that knows what he's talking about.
For the next couple of innings here.
He's good at that stuff, Carl. we believe everything he says.
So Dan, Bobby's got this clairvoyant sense.
All right, Bobby.
Oh my!
What do you see A-Rod doing in this?
Oh, I love those guys. They're just so nice, Johnny Kruk. I thought maybe he was over at that Taco Bell parking lot, jamming up the parking lot, but no, he's on stage right there.
Alex Rodriguez leads off the 6th for the Yankees, who are down a run. What was the scene like on the Baseball Tonight set? You were there.
Absolutely fantastic. You know, the fans are there. Actually, there are more Yankee fans, it seemed, than Cub fans, but we're in a McDonald's parking lot right across the street from Wrigley. Just fabulous. The boys are carrying the show. And, you know, this is just not in a comfortable situation. 104 home runs for the New York Yankees, a 1-run game in Wrigley. The guy who's never hit a home run at the plate in Wrigley.
A guy who Buster Olney texted up here a little while ago that ESPNNewYork.com is reporting that Alex Rodriguez is playing with a left shoulder strain tonight. Doesn't seem to hamper him on that swing as he lines the ball into left field for a base hit. And all of a sudden, and this will happen when you're as close to the lake as we are, the weather has changed. It has cooled off literally in the last 15 seconds or so, and the wind has really picked up now, blowing out to left field. You've seen this before, Oral.
I sure have, and you have to look for it and talk to your outfielders and feel it on the mound and make your adjustments. But there's nothing wrong ever with keeping the ball down and getting ground balls. You don't have to worry about the wind then.
A-Rod at first to lead off the 6th. The batter Robinson Cano, 0 for 2. Mike Quaddy said the problem that Randy Wells has had at times this year is the sinker hasn't been low enough. So his money pitch, his ground ball pitch, has been up in the zone, and those grounders have turned into liners. Chopper towards second. LeMahieu on to first in time. As the ball, the runner, and the second baseman were all converging, Bobby.
Yeah, real inexperienced play at second base there. What you want to do is run right through the runner, and you get obstruction by the runner as he's going. He allowed Alex to run in front of him and take this ball in one hop. If he charges his ball real hard and just runs right through the runner, boom, you have contact. Alex would be out, and there'd be a man on first. Instead, you do the polite play, let him go in front of you, and you get the out at first. Now you have the tying run at second.
With a 1 out of the 6th inning, here's Nick Swisher. Had an RBI single his last time up.
One of the more famous collisions in that way was Albert Bell running into Fernando Vina when he played for Milwaukee, and absolutely obliterated him. And everybody got on Albert, and Albert did the right thing as the runner, and Fernando did the right thing as the second baseman. It just happened to be a size differential.
Big swing and a foul off by Swisher. 0-2. Randy Wells has not pitched a whole lot because of injury this year. Was on the DL for several weeks. Came off the DL to make a start in the middle of May. May 17th. Had a forearm strain that cost him about 5-6 weeks. And this is his 5th major league start since coming off the DL in late May. His last time out was his best start against Milwaukee, when 6 innings, gave up 3 runs, 2 of them earned on 8 hits. The kind of outing they're hoping to get from him, and even more than that on a consistent basis.
You know, we talked about the movement that Randy Wells is lacking lately, and when you talk about a forearm injury and coming back from that, that's that last little bit of finish with your hand that puts spin onto the ball and allows the ball to be more down in the strike zone with more action. And now that he's slowly coming back, he's getting deeper into games, gathering confidence in his forearm and finishing his pitches. Really, the needle is starting to point up for him and the rest of the year if he can stay healthy.
Mike Quaddy's got to be happy. Doug Davis beat the Yankees on Friday afternoon, went into the 8th inning. And now Randy Wells, who again is near the back end of the rotation based on the results this year, is pitching with a lead in the 6th inning against the potent Yankee lineup.
He's had some really good sinkers, though, balls that just killed some worms out in front of the plate. You know, it's strange to me that Alex Rodriguez would take his lead off of second base in such a straight line. He's the tying run. He's not going to try to steal third. They're not going to be bunting. There's not going to be a play at third base. What he wants to do is take his lead off of second so that he's further back. Now he's back in the line, and then he walks up into the line, which will give him a straight line to third base, and they can make a big turn around the base on his way to home. I would prefer, as most base running coaches would prefer, for him to take the lead in the back of the baseline, right about where he is now and even a little deeper, so that he can create an angle as he goes into third base and make a more direct line. There he is. Now he's
stay
back.
there.
Alex would stay there. So it's more direct line going from third to home. That's where you want to create your angle from. Can these guys hear me?
I'm really starting to wonder about that myself.
I'll tell you what, you had to start back where he is now before they put the new drainage system in, because there was such great slope as you came around third. You'd fall down because of the slope, but now they have the new drainage system. It's a little easier to cut the bags.
Now A-Rod steps back in almost right in the baseline, and the count is full.
He stayed out a little bit. The first 3 pitches, he was so far inside the line, he'd have to go around and shake hands with the Cub dugout around third base trying to score. There you is where you want to be, so you could create that angle to hit the corner closest to the mound and closest to the home plate and have a straight angle going home.
Another base hit for Swisher. A-Rod's going to be held at third. And you're saying if he was not right in the baseline, if he's further out so he can make a better turn at third, he's getting congratulations in the dugout right now.
I'm sorry, but yes. When he came into third base, his angle was so far toward the dugout.
He should be accelerating, not breaking it down.
Line, as you see it here. Now he touches the corner, and boy, he's in the coach's backs. He should almost be in the dirt as he's making his turn around third base and creating an angle before he gets there. I don't get that one at all.
So it's not just a 2-out thing. In this situation, you should have been way further back thinking about home, not third.
Unless you're stealing third base or you're going to third base on a bunt, where you want to make that line the shortest distance possible from second to third, you want to create an angle going into third so that you're accelerating in the shortest distance from third to home.
Here's Russell Martin. Off the glove of the catcher Soto. A-Rod has to hold, but Swisher into second.
Well, not to belabor the point, but he is out and now he comes in. So as he goes into third base here, now he tries to go out, and there's no way of creating the right angle or depth going around third base. You'll see it right here. It's way too far. He should be 4 feet further toward the outfield, so he's not 5 feet further toward the dugout as you make the turn. But he's on third base. It's hit too hard, he said. I'm not sure.
The scoring on the last play, a wild pitch, by the way, charged to Wells. Alex Rodriguez still at third, potential tying run. Swisher at second after the wild pitch, just 1 out. Even with a bag on the corners, backed up the middle. 1-0 the count on Russell Martin. To right field. Montañez the catch. A-Rod will tag and score. The throw coming in toward third base as the sac fly ties the game.
So eventually he got home.
Yeah. And he ran the straight line home. He got the tag up at third and ran as straight a line as he could from third to home.
And you see all the teammates are kind of jabbing at him a little bit and staring at him, looking for what's going on, what are the excuses, what are we thinking about?
What are we thinking about? Base hit to right, rookie right fielder, tying run.
Looks like they're looking at A-Rod's knee right now in the Yankee dugout as Eduardo Nunez takes down and away ball 1.
Well, here's Nunez in another big spot at the plate. And he's been stuck behind Derek Jeter, one of the greatest players to ever play, and hasn't really developed as a baseball player yet. But most people who've seen him enough really like what they've seen. And I think he made one of the finest plays I've seen all year, going into the hole and throwing Castro out earlier in the game. And he's taken pitches in tough situations tonight. Very relaxed way. He has hit a couple balls off the end of the bat. And I think he's figured Wells out, and he's ready to hit a line drive up the middle.
Ball 3.
Wells thinks so too. CC's on deck, Earl. Your thoughts?
I thought you got a crystal ball out again.
No, they're just going to walk him.
And now they'll put him on.
Again, Sabathia for a pitcher is a very good hitter. He's tapped out, a little ground ball right out in front of the plate, and then a fly ball to left field tonight. Not bad.
That is one comment you need graphic support on, Dan, for the nation to know that you're right on. He can swing it.
Hit 3 balls into the seats in a row in right field during batting practice today. The game is tied, 2 on, 2 out in the 6th. I don't think he's gotten a first pitch fastball yet from Wells tonight.
His reputation precedes him. And if Randy Wells didn't know that, definitely the Cubs staff let him know before the game.
Two balls and a strike on Sabathia. It's a combination noise-wise in this ballpark right now of excitement for Yankee fans, nervousness for Cub fans.
Don't be surprised if this is a breaking ball.
Fastball, but it's low. 3-1.
Believe it or not, I like a get-over breaking ball better than I like a get-over fastball here.
Fastball inside corner, full count. Wells off the rubber for a moment. The runners will be moving. Fans, Yankee fans and Cub fans alike, standing at Wrigley. Got him. Maybe the biggest out of the night for Randy Wells. The Yankees and Cubs are tied at 4. Back to the bottom of the 6th. Dan Shulman, Bobby Valentine, Oral Hershiser. Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. The Yankees and Cubs tied at 4. And a strike taken by Lou Montañez. Randy Wells in the dugout with his manager. A demonstrative and emotional Mike Quaddy right now.
Talking about that 4-1 lead that evaporated here, Earl. What do you think?
Maybe a little of that and a little of encouragement about how he got the spare tire back on in the middle of the game and kept the lead.
A tie.
You can see activity in the Cubs pen down the left field line. Left-hander Sean Marshall is up.
What do you see?
0-2 the count on Montañez, a former first-round pick back in 2000 by the Cubs and got up as high as AAA with them. Never made the majors. Went to Baltimore for the last 3 years. Part-time player, has come back to the Cubs. Kosuke Fukudome on the bench tonight. Again, no lefties in the starting lineup against CC Sabathia.
But Mike Quaddy said he has those left-handers lined up for that Yankee bullpen.
Also got John Grabo and James Russell. 3 lefties available out of the Cubs pen. Mike Quaddy, you can see he's looking over the matchups right now. Foul ball. Wrigley Field, one of the last remaining parks where the bullpens are down the lines, where the fans can get very close to the relievers as they're warming up.
We saw it in San Francisco last week. Yep. It wasn't by design, but that's where they are.
Nowhere else to put them here at Wrigley. Well, and you can see how close the fans are to the action here at this old ballpark, which was originally known as Weigman Park for its first 2 years, 1914 and 1915. Actually, a little bit longer than that. The Cubs got here in 1916. The original tenant of this park were the Chicago Whales of the Federal League. They played 2 years here. That league went out of business, and then the owner of the Whales and the owner of the Cubs, Mr. Wrigley, got together, joined forces, and the Cubs moved here, and some years later the ballpark became known as Wrigley Field, where they have been playing, the Cubs have, since 1916. In foul territory, races over to Scherer to make the catch for out number 1. But they have never played to bigger crowds over a weekend series than they have played here this weekend. And again, they've added some seats here, so in recent years, but almost 42,000 here tonight, better than 126,000 in attendance here for the 3-game series against the New York Yankees, the largest 3-game series crowds in Wrigley Field history. That does not include the people on the rooftops across the street or us. I guess it doesn't include us. Here's LeMahieu.
Without any of those right-handed pinch hitters on the bench, you're going to see Mike Quaddy try to maneuver some left-handed pinch hitters.
Well struck to left center. Gardner races over to make the catch.
Wow. We talked about Gardner being one of the best defensive players in the league. Earl, you saw the jump. I mean, it was a perfect jump on beat with a perfect angle. He runs with his glove as though he's a sprinter, and then right at the end reaches up with a backhanded stab. This is why those defensive metrics show that he's one of the best in the league, second only to Parra for left fielders in runs prevented. He's prevented 13 runs this year.
It's not only the speed, but the accuracy of the route.
Exactly.
Here's Tony Campana to pinch hit for Randy Wells. Young outfielder, tremendously fast. Maybe the one guy in the ballpark who'd have a chance to beat Brett Gardner in a race.
And even with 2 outs, I think a bunt is a play that he can employ here with the big guy on the mound and Alex at third.
Yankees thinking the same thing. Chopper toward first, but foul. Campana was called up from AAA Iowa on May the 17th. A 13th round pick out of the University of Cincinnati back in 2008, a career .303 hitter in the minors. He thought about it. He was trying to do what you were thinking he might do, but he fouled it off.
He's in your crystal ball again, Bobby.
Well, it's an idea.
Well, 8 out of 9 base stealers have been successful against CC, so he bunts for a hit. It's almost like a double, because you know he'd be going with 2 outs.
Chase is down and away. Martin down to first to complete the strikeout and end the inning. The Cubs go in order. We're at the end of 6, tied at 4. Top of the order for the visitors when we come back. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, presented by Taco Bell, is brought to you by One A Day Men's, the official multivitamin of MLB, specially formulated for men. And Bud Light Lime, the just right taste of Bud Light with a refreshing splash of 100% natural lime flavor. It was this kind of a day, it was this kind of a weekend in Chicago as the New York Yankees came to town, splitting the first 2 games. The Cubs winning on Friday 3-1. The Yankees winning yesterday 4-3. They're tied at 4 on this clear, now a little bit cool and somewhat breezy night as we go to the 7th. Brett Gardner to lead it off against the new Cubs pitcher. Left-hander Sean Marshall comes into the game, a very effective left-hander in recent years for the Cubs. Well, you got to love those numbers.
Love the numbers, and you love what Gardner was thinking of there. He was thinking about taking a bump with him at the second baseman by the left-handed pitcher who falls off the mound toward third.
Gardner tonight has homered. That led off the ball game. Then he had a base hit in the 3rd, and he grounded out in the 5th. So he continues his red-hot hitting. Over 350 his last 50 games. Good slider for a strike. MLB.TV, baseball everywhere. Watch over 100 live out-of-market games per week online and on your favorite device. Visit MLB.TV for details. 2 strikes now. The third baseman Ramirez backs up. Slap to short. Castro got a hurry. Got him.
Again, one of the situations, knowing the speed of the runner for a young infielder, that's paramount. Possibly should be playing a little more shallow to start with, but this is a bang play at first where Castro waits for the ball. He gets it, then he has to hurry. Woo!
Rob, he looked like to me he didn't charge that ball at all either. He laid back. You might get him once, but you got to get him 10 times in a row at this level.
Exactly.
And playing it like that, you might not get him 10 in a row.
Quickly 0-2 on Curtis Granderson, who's looking for his first hit of the night.
Well, so much is about defense and positioning, and taking 2 steps in before the ball's hit, positioning yourself closer to home plate, takes all of that doubt away. And it really doesn't cut down on your range very much at all. It's negligible.
And whatever you lose in range, you wouldn't have thrown him out anyway.
You got it.
Just missed with a breaking ball. And the Cub fans howling at Wrigley right now.
A breaking ball right here, and K-Zone says it's wide.
Granderson has been so good against left-handers this year, an area where he really struggled in the first few years of his career, but he's got 9 home runs already this season against left-handed pitching. And that leads everybody in baseball.
Dan, I don't mind saying that the home plate umpire Todd Tichender's had a wonderful night tonight also.
Three and 2. It's not an easy job back there, right? 250 pitches a night.
Absolutely. And usually you miss 1 or 2 and everyone's all over you. He's had a great night.
Granderson knew it. 2 down.
3-2 breaking ball. It starts at you. And your second place hitter, you're thinking it's going to be a fastball with the big boys coming up.
In any other count, this is a hanger. 3-2. It gets you in between. That's a hanging breaking ball. And if it's not 3-2, you're like, boy, making sure it's a strike. I'll get a walk. It's up. Oh, it broke, and it caught the top of the zone.
Starts right at that front shoulder. You dip. Once you freeze, you're done.
Yep.
Here's Teixeira. Teixeira 0 for 2 with a walk tonight. His split's just about even, almost identical, in fact, between his right-handed numbers, his left-handed numbers, swinging the bat this year. Missed around that outside corner, ball 2.
Marshall needs to be kicking himself a little bit, though. I'll tell you what, those breaking balls are up, and you don't want to be begging for the up ones. You just want to throw a better quality one.
Like that?
Like that. Make a little adjustment. Don't beg for the umpire to give you the high one. Bear down on yourself and make better pitches. Those are the ones in a tie game late in your role that you are going to say they're going to keep you awake late at night if you give up a dinger on it.
Pops him up, foul territory, maybe playable. Inning over. What a job by Marshall, getting the Yankees top of the order, in the top of the 7th. Bobby Valentine, Oral Hershiser, Buster Olney, Wendy Nix. I'm Dan Schulman. This is Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN, and a good game. All three games in this series have been close and entertaining. A 3-1 win for the Cubs on Friday, a 4-3 win for the Yankees yesterday, a 4-4 tie. Going to the bottom of the seventh. As again, we wish you and all the dads out there a very happy Father's Day. That dad's having a good night. All the dads here at the ballpark having a good night. As the top of the order comes up for the Cubs, beginning with Reed Johnson. 1 for 3, doubled and scored back in the first. Johnson yesterday hit a home run off Mariano Rivera. Johnson Friday, as a defensive replacement in the ninth inning, made a spectacular catch down the left field line for the first out of the ninth inning, helping to preserve a Cubs win. Reiner to right field, and a sliding catch by Swisher. The lights got him a little bit, he's saying right there, but he hung with it to make the catch. One down, now the shortstop, Starlin Castro. Interesting week really for both teams. The Yankees will fly to Cincinnati tonight. Begin a 3-game series with the Reds. You can see the game tomorrow night on ESPN at 7 Eastern. The Cubs, meanwhile, will head to the south side of Chicago. Begin a 3-game series tomorrow night against the White Sox. Left center, Gardner, 2 down. Let's take a look now at tonight's AL/NL Showdown update, brought to you by State Farm. And the American League is handily out in front right now, 49-34 on the National League. Almost a run per game better too in the ERA department right now for the AL. And this is the way it's been more often than not in recent years. Quickly 2 down. Here's Jeff Baker, 0 for 3. Caught by Teixeira. Baker 0 for 4. A very quick inning for Sabathia. Needed only 5 pitches to get 3 outs, and we remain tied at 4 at the end of 7 after this fine play by the first baseman, Teixeira. presented by Taco Bell, is brought to you by Cabot. Finish like a pro with Cabot wood stains. Cabot, that's pro. And the all-new Audi A7. Here we go to the 8th inning, tied at 4. Yankees and Cubs. Alex Rodriguez will lead it off against left-hander Sean Marshall. Activity in both pens right now. And as A-Rod takes a strike. Officially 1 for 2. He's reached on a fielder's choice. He's walked and scored. He's singled and scored. He'll be followed by Robinson Cano and Nick Swisher. Marshall got Gardner, Granderson, and Teixeira in order in the 7th. Broken to bat, base hit into left center. So A-Rod on base again. Last time was a little bit interesting. Let's take a look now back at our pro tips brought to you by Cabot wood stains. Bobby, this is A-Rod between 2nd and 3rd.
He's been on base as much as anybody in baseball, and he knows better than this, but he took his route in a very weird way. He ran straight to first and then bowed way around the bag, giving himself a really big angle going around the base. If he was deeper in the line, he would have 2 direct lines, one to third and then one very quickly to home. Believe me, it's quicker. I've timed him.
I believe you.
Many times.
Just between you, me, and America, I believe you.
Potential go-ahead run on base to lead off the 8th inning. Robinson Cano lines a ball center field. It's down for a base hit. Cut off by Johnson. Rodriguez on his way around to 3rd.
Wow. That was a bullet to center field. And Reed Johnson, who's a academic All-American out of Cal State Fullerton, understands angles, and he got a great jump on this ball and cut it off at the pass with a 360 turn to keep Granderson at first base as it's a bullet slicing away from him. He reaches out and then 360, turning his back on home plate to get that ball in very quickly.
A pitching change coming now for the Cubs. The Yankees with runners at 1st and 3rd, nobody out. The lefty Marshall out. The righty Chris Carpenter on his way in. By Taco Bell. Aerial coverage of tonight's game is brought to you by DirecTV. Get the most baseball games in HD on DirecTV. We're tied at 4 in the top of the 8th inning here in Chicago, and the Yankees have runners at 1st and 3rd with nobody out. Mike Quade goes to his pen. He brings in a rookie right-hander, Chris Carpenter. Same name, same spelling, first name and last, no relation to the Cardinals pitcher. 4th major league appearance for the young man who throws hard. 3rd round pick in 2008. Tough spot.
I think this is a situation you got to cut this run off at the plate. because man's on first base, you're not going to give up a run here. I believe 1 run with the Yankees in 2 innings of play is just like a loss.
Nick Swisher, the batter.
There's a man on third base right here, or you're playing the infield in, right? I don't think that a man on first negates your strategy of cutting off that important run in the 8th inning.
So you want to see Castro closer, the shortstop?
I'd like to see both of them in to cut this run off at the plate.
Soto trying to settle down Carpenter a little bit. He falls behind 2-0.
You're thinking your offense can score at least 1 run in the next 2 innings against CC and Mariano, who's going to be in this game after 2 outs in the next inning if they score a run.
Now we should mention, normally Kerry Wood might be in here, but Kerry Wood's on the DL with a blister on his finger. So the next guy in line would be Jeff Samardzija.
Yes.
But he threw 40 pitches yesterday.
Not available.
So Chris Carpenter in his 4th big league appearance is in. And he gives up a rocket to right field that will disappear for a 3-run homer.
Come into a big situation, young pitcher, 2008 third-round draft pick, fastball up, get it down. Got it down just enough to the top of the strike zone where Nick Swisher puts a sweet swing, firms up the front side, and leverages that ball out.
What a night for Swisher. 3 for 4 with 4 RBIs.
That's when harder is not better as a pitcher. Softer with better location down is the better pitch. You can't throw it by them when you can only throw it about 91 to 92 miles an hour.
And for Mike Quade, Bobby, sometimes you got to play the hand you dealt. Without Kerry Wood, with Jeff Samardzija unavailable, this is the hand he was dealt.
Exactly. And Michael told us before the game about the good news and the bad news. The good news is they've been playing a lot better, and they've been playing a lot of close games. The bad news is he's really been using his bullpen, and Kerry Wood is not available because he's on the DL, and Samardzija is not available because he was so wild last night.
Ball and 2 strikes to Russell Martin. And meanwhile, on the other side, now with the Yankees, they've got a lead here in the 8th inning. As activity resumes, James Russell is up in the Cubs pen. Oral, CC Sabathia can get a win. He hung around. He goes deeper into games than just about any pitcher in the majors. And he's got a chance to pick up a W. Castro sets his feet, long throw, and it skips past Baker at first. Martin safe.
That's a base hit and a long throw. Baker, not a normal first baseman, tried to scoop that in the in-between hop and missed it. Thought that was a nice true throw by Castro. 2 feet on the outfield grass. He planted his right foot very well with the backhand Oral. He's 1-2 on the outfield. Plants his foot, makes a nice firm straight throw. Kind of hits the grass, a little lip that Baker olays. Base hit, I believe.
Now Nunez. Sabathia is due up next, but out of the on-deck circle is Jorge Posada. To bat for Sabathia, whose night is evidently done and does have a chance to pick up a win tonight. Wrigley Field, with all the Yankee fans that are here, was alive when Posada was announced as a pinch hitter each of the last 2 days. Of course, National League Park, he's a DH right now, so he's not starting, but he's pinch hit each of the last 2 days, and he's gotten enormously loud ovations from the Yankee fans in attendance.
And another guy who was talked about by his manager before the game, David Robertson, is ready to come in, who's been pitching extremely well since Java went down to a Tommy John surgery. Here's David Robertson, who has dynamic stuff, a very good cutter, Real sharp curveball.
A big 8th inning here for the Yankees. A 3-run home run by Swisher. Strike taken by Nunez. The Yankees were down 4-1 after 3 innings, but it got 2 in the 4th, 1 in the 6th, and now 3 here in the 8th to take the lead. And Swisher can't stop smiling.
And real long look for a hit and run situation here. Nope. Wayne Nunez stared down at the third base coach. Oh, you see that? It looked like he needed to see the sign again.
Rob Thompson, the third base coach, relaying the signs. The Yankees had gone 3 games without hitting a home run. That's an eternity for them this year. But tonight, Brett Gardner and Nick Swisher have homered, and the Yankees now have a major league leading 105 home runs. This is their 70th game. Right field for out number 1. And that will bring up Posada. But he'll have to wait a little bit. A pitching change coming here. Mike Quanti back out to the mound to take out a Carpenter. The left-hander Russell is coming into the game. Posada gets the helmet with the ear flap on the other side, getting set to face Russell. The Yankees have the lead here in the 8th inning because of this. A 3-run blast to right by Nick Swisher. 7-4 Yanks, 8th inning at Wrigley. The Cubs. Jorge Posada will turn around to bat from the right side now against the left-hander James Russell. And the Yankee fans again are making the majority of the noise right now here at Wrigley. 25th appearance of the season for Russell. They turn Posada around to what has been his much weaker side this year. Just 4 for 39 as a right-handed batter.
Well, we have some action in the stands, folks. Posada decided to look down there to see what was going on. The fans having a good time behind third base.
Now we're not going to show you what's going on, but Some fans are going to get an early shower here at Wrigley. They're going to be asked to leave the building early. Losada lifts a fly ball to right center field. Johnson there for the catch, 2 down. We've got some other news from around baseball. Back down to the field again with Buster.
Dan, earlier today, the Florida Marlins accepted the resignation of Edwin Rodriguez, and tonight, 2 sources are telling me the Marlins are expected to name Jack McKeon as their interim manager. He's 80 years old. He'll be the oldest manager in baseball history other than Connie Mack, Dan.
Who owned the team way back when, the Philadelphia Athletics. Trader Jack is back. What do you guys think?
He loves the game of baseball. He knows this team as well as anyone else. You know, they've lost 17 out of 18. I think that, as crazy as it might sound, Jack's probably the guy for the job the rest of the season.
Well, they were looking great until about 3 weeks ago, and to say the wheels have fallen off is an understatement. Josh Johnson's on the DL. Hanley Ramirez is on the DL. They just sent Chris Coughlin down, but everything's gone wrong for that team.
Well, as badly as things go during a baseball season, that's just how good they can go.
Yeah.
And Jack's had magic before. Matter of fact, had magic with the Florida Marlins in a very similar situation. See if he could pull a rabbit out of his hat one more time. Wish him luck. He's a great baseball guy.
7-4 Yankees, 8th inning. The Swisher home run, the big hit. Runner goes.
No
pitch
chance.
taken for a strike.
Wow.
Got him. Soto throws out his counterpart, Russell Martin, to end the inning. USAA, where the Yankees have rallied from a 4-1 deficit to take a 7-4 lead. The big hit, the Nick Swisher home run, the 3-run shot in the top of the 8th inning off rookie Chris Carpenter. CC Sabathia is now out of the game as we go to the bottom of the 8th. Left for the pinch hitter Jorge Posada in the top half of the inning. But Sabathia is in line for the win if the Yankee bullpen can deliver. And in spite of some issues and injuries, Rafael Soriano, Jabba Chamberlain, Damaso Marte, Pedro Feliciano, all on the DL right now. The Yankee bullpen has delivered this year. They've got the best collective bullpen ERA in the American League. And this guy, David Robertson, is one of the big reasons why. Look at the ERA. Look at the strikeouts to innings pitched. 46 strikeouts in 28 1/3. A Carlos Marmol type strikeout to innings ratio.
That little cutter he just threw right there has been one of the reasons he's put those kind of numbers up.
And Oral, before the game, you asked Joe Girardi, boy, was that a Mariano Rivera influence? And he said, absolutely not. He came with it.
So. Yeah, he came with it. And Mariano Rivera, though, is the influence around all of Major League Baseball why the cut fastball is so popular. Used to be he and maybe a couple others, but his was the most famous, and now it's probably in about 60 to 70% of the guys' repertoires. Another one. Not to turn the page on CC Sabathia, but 89 pitches is a low. 23 starts in a row over 100. He's after his 166th victory tonight, which would tie Greg Maddux for victories in the last 30 years under the age of 31. And he's got till July 21st, Dan, to get another one to tie Bert Blyleven.
Good curveball there by Robertson to strike out Aramis Ramirez.
CC worked hard to get in this position tonight. Early on, the fastball location was off. It was up. The ball was not cutting into right-handers. Soriano picked on one right there for a homer. But later, instead of being stubborn with the fastball, he went to the off-speed pitch, and the changeup became the pitch that got him through to a 4-4 tie, and then the Yankee offense put him in this position now, 7-4 for the W.
Alfonso Soriano takes ball one. Soriano with a 3-run home run back in the third. The Cubs won Friday. The Yankees won yesterday. Had the Cubs won yesterday, it would have been 3 wins in a row for them. They have not had a 3-game winning streak all season. If the Cubs win tonight, they'll win the series, and it would be back-to-back series wins. They have not won back-to-back series all season. They're 29-41. They're in 5th place in the National League Central with a huge payroll. There's some angst. There's a little bit of anger even on the north side about this underachieving Cubs team. Now, yes, they've had a lot of injuries, but a lot of teams have had a lot of injuries this year. Soriano will draw the walk.
But they really have had a shuttle between their AAA and AA teams up to this major league team, and it's very difficult to go into spring training and then use up all the depth in your organization before July. And that's what the Cubs and Mike Quade have had to do, keep calling guys up, AA, AAA. Had a couple guys on the roster today he's really very unfamiliar with, and they're playing in a major league game.
Right now, they're without Marlon Byrd, their center fielder. Kerry Woods got a blister. He's on the DL. Darwin Barney, the second baseman, on the DL with a knee problem. 4 other players came off the DL within the last 2 weeks. Here's Soto. Meanwhile, the Yankees have the 3rd best record in all of baseball. And they have certainly had their fair share of injuries and problems this year. Granted, $200 million can go a long way. Everybody understands that. But with a breakout season by Granderson, and David Robertson pitching as well as he has, Bartolo Colon pitching great till he went on the DL, they have found a way to maybe do better than some people thought they would.
Well, offensively, when A-Rod is 4th on your team in home runs, there are other contributors. Anderson, Teixeira, and Cano are ahead of him.
Their offense has been very good. 280 walks, now 105 home runs. But Joe Girardi has shown no panic this entire season. With the lack of starting pitching that he started out with, he made his starting staff. With the bullpen going down the way it has, he's put other people in, like this David Robertson, into the crucial roles, and they're all doing the job. And he hasn't been affected by the Jeter watch and the Jeter early in the season talk of his demise. He's steadied his ship. He kept the course, and he's going to be in this pennant race the entire year against a very, very good Boston Red Sox team, I believe.
And Larry Rothschild's done a great job with A.J. Burnett, getting him back on the bump. He's a pitcher that actually they can count on now. Phil Hughes had a positive outing today down in the minors today. His fastball was clocked at 94 miles an hour. He went 4 1/3 innings. Maybe he's on the horizon. Maybe they can find some order back in that rotation. Great signs in the offseason of Freddie Garcia and Bartolo Colon. They've really come to the rescue in the depth category and quality category.
Freddie Garcia, one of the Yankee starters, looking on from the dugout. A full count on Giovanni Soto. The Yankees lead the Cubs 7-4 in the bottom of the 8th. Just missed for ball 4, and the potential tying run is going to come to the plate as pitching coach Larry Rothschild, for many years the pitching coach here with the Cubs, makes his way to the mound. Carlos Pena has emerged from the Cub dugout as a pinch hitter for Lou Montañez. No activity in the Yankee pen. Rivera will wait for the 9th. The Yankees putting their trust in David Robertson here in the 8th inning. He's walked back-to-back batters. Pena's got some pop, including a home run yesterday. His 11th of the season. Mariano Rivera seems pretty relaxed in anticipation of a potential save opportunity in the 9th inning, making some friends here at Wrigley. Teaching on the cutter.
He didn't show him the grip yet, but he got a fist bump. He'll remember that the rest of his life.
Here's Pena. Look at that smile. I don't know if that kid's a Cub fan or a Yankee fan, but right now it doesn't really matter to him.
You just met a first ballot Hall of Famer, young man, and maybe the greatest closer that's ever lived.
Again, the fan base is kind of battling for noise supremacy right now here at Wrigley between Let's Go Yankees and Let's Go Cubbies. Pena lays off the breaking ball, ball 1. Robertson struck out Aramis Ramirez to begin the inning, but then he walked Alfonso Soriano and Giovanni Soto, and Larry Rothschild is on the phone.
Probably didn't want to use Mariano tonight, but still might have to. In the 8th, that is. Or maybe get a left-hander up to keep those left-handers from marching up there.
Weakly hit ground ball for the 2nd out as the runners advance. And it is the left-hander Boone Logan who is starting to throw. The breeze continues to blow out to left field. Harder the last couple of innings than earlier. And another pinch hitter coming up for the Cubs right now. Luis Ayala joins Boone Logan. Blake DeWitt is going to be the pinch hitter for the Cubs, batting for DJ LeMahieu. All the left-handed bats coming off the bench now for the Cubs. Second and third, 2 down. 7-4 Yankees in the 8th. Cubs tonight are just 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position. as yet another pinch hitter has emerged in the on-deck circle. The last remaining position player the Cubs have, Kosuke Fukudome, who would bat in the pitcher spot. The 0-2. Cutter runs inside.
He really loves the cutter. He has a very good curveball. It's probably curveball time. Russell Martin's got to keep it in front of him with men in second and third. Just block it on that check swing and throw it to first base.
Definitely not a situation where first base is open. He's trying to get him out right here. He's not going to pitch around him with a base open. He's going to try and get him out. And I don't mind the breaking ball in the dirt. Even if you did bounce it and give up the 1 run, you don't want to give up a crooked number. You go ahead and trust your catcher.
And your curveball.
Exactly.
He goes to it, gets a pop-up. Inning over. Robertson pitches around his own lack of command, and the Yankees still have that 3-run lead. Taco Bell, think outside the bun. And in part by State Farm. State Farm agents are there when you need them. Find an agent or get a quote at statefarm.com. Hey, it's Father's Day. Help keep Dad in the game. This Father's Day, join a Major League Baseball and the Prostate Cancer Foundation in the fight against prostate cancer. Log on to MLB.com/MVPDad or PCF.org to learn more. All of the Major League players, all the players on the field wearing the blue ribbons on their uniforms tonight in support of prostate cancer research. James Russell to face Brett Gardner to begin the 9th inning. Changes for the Cubs as Carlos Pena remains in the game after pinch hitting. He'll play at first base. Blake DeWitt will stay in the game at second base. Jeff Baker has moved out to right field. Gardner takes high. A 7-4 Yankee lead after they trailed 4-1. Gardner beginning the game with a home run tonight, his 4th of the season. And as we look ahead to the bottom of the 9th inning, 3-run lead for the Yankees, and that can only mean one thing. The greatest closer, most would agree, in Major League history is warming up. Mariano Rivera in anticipation of a save opportunity. If the Yankees add on any runs, it will not be a save situation. But if it goes like this to the bottom of the ninth, it will be. Rivera's second all time, 25 behind Trevor Hoffman. Picked up his 17th of the season yesterday, despite giving up a home run to Reed Johnson.
And Dan, it is Father's Day. To be very apropos for Jamie to say hello to his father, Jeff, who pitched for me with the Texas Rangers, was Fireman of the Year, 1989. Great guy, great pitcher, great athlete.
Over the head of Ramirez into left field, a base hit. Gardner on his way to second. And in there in a slide. And he can fly.
He can fly and he can run the bases. He used the absolute least amount of strides from home plate to second base, making a perfect turn around first base, thinking that ball has a chance to be a double right off the bat. And here he goes. And there he creates the angle, and he's straight in the second base. Wow. Created the angle on the way to first base, so he's running a straight line to second.
Gardner's had a big night. 3 for 5, a single, a double, and a homer.
And he's caught some balls out in left field that other guys wouldn't catch.
The batter, Granderson.
Well, I think they're really going to have a decision to make when Derek does come back, because I think Gardner provides something at the top of the order that every team would want to have.
So for those who weren't with us earlier, you're saying the way Gardner's hitting, you got to leave him there. Granderson stays in the 2 spot. You think the time has come to move Jeter down in the order?
Well, you know, things have a way of working themselves out. And the last thing I want to do is have Derek Jeter not be where he should exactly be when he gets his 3,000th hit. But I know the Yankees do what's best for the team.
Ripped into right field. Gardner will score. Granderson on his way to second. Granderson on his way to third. An RBI triple.
Well, base running's not only about cutting and making the right turns, which Granderson did, but it's also about picking up your third base coach when there's an opportunity to get a triple. First of all, you've got to cut the bags early to give yourself a chance. Coming around first base, he's going to start cutting the bags early, and then he's going to start looking to see if it's time. And he gave him a good long look, because Rob Thompson wasn't sure until he was about 20 feet from second base. And that's when he put his head down and went for it.
An 8-4 lead for the Yankees. Rodrigo Lopez coming in now for the Cubs. Brett Gardner, then an RBI triple by Curtis Granderson. It's now 8-4 Yankees as they pour it on in the late innings against the Cubs. Still nobody out in the inning, and right-hander Rodrigo Lopez has now come into the game for Chicago, their 5th pitcher of the night.
And as you are keeping the crowd in their seats and the fans in front of their TVs waiting for Mariano to come into the game. We're probably going to see someone else.
And the save opportunity is gone. Now with the lead going to 4 here in the 9th inning. Meanwhile, remember Russell Martin was hit on the left side of his head on the backswing by Aramis Ramirez earlier in the game. Apparently he needs some ice on there, but apparently it's not serious enough to get an actual trainer to look at. So Nick Swisher, in addition to hitting the 3-run home run tonight, is now the acting trainer for the New York Yankees.
That's weird. That is a sanitary sock with ice in it. As this bat hit him right where the ice is, he has a headache. There's no doubt about that, and probably some swelling.
It's a good look, though.
That's definitely Nick Swisher's doing. It's not as professional as someone who went to college. Hey, Robertson's getting a kick out of it.
Here's Teixeira, infield in for the Cubs. With a runner at third, nobody out. Win for the Yankees tonight, they'll go to 12 games over. That would be a season high. And they would stay within a game and a half of the Red Sox, who beat Milwaukee. Nick Swisher giving Joe Girardi the full report on Russell Martin.
Yeah, he was telling him how long he's going to have him ice it and what they're going to be doing overnight to make sure the swelling goes down.
And if they ever throw me another 2-0 fastball, I could do that kind of damage all the time. I'm getting right now.
That's quite a picture. That just does not look big league.
There's no dignity for Russell Martin right now.
They said Nick Swisher brought some levity to the Yankees, and I'll guarantee you it's unbelievable. You know, there it is.
You know, Steve Swisher, Dad's there looking at that, but Steve was a hair guy too. Had a huge mustache a couple of years of his coaching career.
Swish is kinetic. He'll talk to anybody that's around. There he is, another conversation. But he can hit.
Teixeira battling as he looks for an RBI with a runner at third, nobody out. The Yankees up 8-4. On their way to Cincinnati, a game you can see tomorrow night on ESPN. The Cubs will begin a series on the south side of Chicago against the White Sox tomorrow. Full count. Alex Rodriguez waiting on deck. Down the right field line toward the corner. It's a fair ball. Granderson will score. Teixeira into second with a double. It is 9-4.
Now, Barry Larkin before the game did a great review of the stadium and how there's no foul territory at all. Teixeira hits this low ball like he hits so well. He hits a high fly ball right down the right field line where there's inches of foul territory. And he's a strange hitter. Oh.
Wow. And it goes for an RBI double. 9-4. Here's A-Rod. Jeff Baker is much more of an infielder than he is an outfielder, but just got moved out there with all the changes, all the pinch hitting and the defensive substitutions. And there you can see the disappearing foul territory down the lines.
Thus the friendly confines.
A lot of friends are confined to this area.
Well, the hard part about that ball is not only do you have the wall to deal with, but you have fans hanging over, possibly trying to catch it, and it blocks your vision sometimes.
Rodriguez with a towering fly ball to left field. And it drops at the base of the ivy. What in the world is going on? Soriano gave up on it, then thought he might have a chance, then kind of looked at Johnson. Johnson didn't get there, and it just dropped at the base of the ivy, and another run scores.
Well, the wind is blowing out to left. There's some screening there that angles up, and Soriano kind of gives up on it early. And this ball just kind of comes straight down the wall and tries to bury itself in the ivy. You see Johnson kind of looking at it. They think it's going to catch the screening, and I'll bet you it just barely cleared the pole that holds the fencing above and fooled both of them. They thought it was going to be in the basket up there.
So 4 consecutive extra base hits for the Yankees here to open the ninth.
That basket out there was added so that fans couldn't reach over and interfere with balls and make the calls easier for the umpires on balls over the wall for a home run or where they interfered with. So there's a basket with the yellow line on top, which is where the ball has to clear for a home run. And the fans can't reach over past that.
And it does protrude from the wall, so I think Soriano thought it was going to be caught in the basket. It must have just scraped the edge of it.
Comes out about 2.5 feet there,
yeah.
And they make it so none of the fans can reach over and interfere because there were so many balls that umpires had trouble with. They can reach down into the basket after it's in there.
Sinking liner to left, caught by Soriano. Finally, the first out of the inning.
Really, the two irregularities of the outfield here in Wrigley caught the outfielders of the Cubs here tonight in this inning. The basket and then the almost zero foul territory down the right field and left field line with the fans overhanging really made it tough on both those balls.
And as Barry Larkin pointed out in Baseball Tonight show, they ivies the third one where the ball almost disappeared into the ivy. So we had a prelude of this game.
If the ball would have stayed in the ivy, it's a ground rule double. The ball came out. The ball's in play.
Here's Swisher. Didn't want to, but he went around. Nick Swisher's had a big, big night. 3 hits, including a 3-run home run that gave the Yankees the lead in the 8th inning.
That's 3 hits, a home run, 4 RBIs, and an ice bag.
Yeah, medical assist with Russell Martin.
Made a good play in the outfield. Sliding catch. He's done it all, baby. Done it all. Swish.
You're starting to sound like Dick Vitale, Bobby.
Okay.
Not sure I'd go quite that far.
Dan, you're used to that. Dick's probably watching.
1-2 the count tonight. Chevrolet player of the game is Nick Swisher. For those 3 hits, including the 3-run homer, he has had a big night. Broke a 4-4 tie, gave the Yankees a 7-4 lead, and now it is 10-4 here in the 9th inning. And he chases for out number 2.
It looked like Swish was looking for the local and got to express a couple of those pitches. Very late on fastballs. Figure I just hit a 93-mile-an-hour fastball 400 feet. They can't possibly throw me another one. As A-Rod leaves the game, Dan.
Ramiro Pena in to run for A-Rod. A-Rod had an eventful night. Winds up 3 for 4, scoring 3 runs, driving in another. Here's Martin. After all the trouble that Nick Swisher went to,
take care of Russell Martin. The Yankees did enough damage that Martin's spot in the order came up again, and here he is. Ice pack gone.
Normally you might take Cervelli and put him in this game with a 6-run lead because the swelling is so bad on Russell's side of his head, but Posada is already hit in this game, so he's out of the game. And I don't think Joe Girardi really wants to risk putting his last catcher into it, and Russell can really gut it out and finish this game, get the ice after the game.
And Cervelli, part of the group down there in the Yankee bullpen. When the inning began, Rivera was throwing when it was 7-4. 10-4 now, though, and Ayala got up and started throwing. We would expect to see him in the bottom of the ninth. Caught by DeWitt. Finally, the inning is over. The Yankees, though, tack on 3 more runs and take a 6-run lead to the bottom of the ninth. And leading 10-4, 3 in the 8th and 3 in the 9th. Back in 1932, these two teams met at the World Series, and one of the most famous alleged moments in baseball history occurred in this ballpark. The supposed called shot by Babe Ruth into Game 3. The Yankees would go on to sweep the series. Ruth had reportedly been taking a lot of verbal abuse from the Cubs players in the dugout, and some would say that he called his shot, that he looked out to the mound and said, I'm going to hit one out there. And he did hit a home run. But did he say, I'm going to hit one out there? Did he say, I got one more strike coming? Did he say something entirely different? You get all kinds of different opinions on whether it's fact or whether it's fiction. And here's, you can see what Babe Ruth was doing. Those are the 2 hand gestures there, immediately preceding the home run. Bobby, you're a baseball historian.
Yeah.
What do you know? What do you think?
I think he was telling the pitcher that this park's only big enough for one Ruth, and it was George Herman, and no one's going to talk to me, and watch what I do with this ball.
Well, once the story got legs, Babe ran with it. Changes for the Yankees. Ramiro Pena stays in at third. And the new pitcher is Jeff Marquez. Third appearance of the season for the Yankees. Again, the injury depleted bullpen. A lot of call-ups for the Yankees this year. Fukudome, who was in the on-deck circle when the bottom of the 8th ended, will begin the bottom of the 9th. New right fielder for the Yankees as well. Chris Dickerson gives Nick Swisher the rest of the night off. And a ground ball to first. Teixeira spins, and it's off the glove of Marquez. Not a great throw by Teixeira. Safe at first for Fukudome. Coming up after our game on ESPN, stay tuned for SportsCenter. A wrap up of all the day's action around the major leagues. The U.S. Open as well. It's an error on Marquez, the pitcher, on that play. historic win today in the U.S. Open by Rory McIlroy. A ton of coverage of that on SportsCenter, along with all of the major league action. Here's Reed Johnson, 1 for 4, doubled and scored back in the first. Sherrill will play off the bag behind the runner with a 6-run lead. And meanwhile, CC Sabathia, he'll be kind of the forgotten story, Oral, in a sense tonight, but he battled and persevered and hung around long enough, and the offense did a job, and looks like he's going to get a win.
When he broke in 2001, he has the most victories now, one more than Roy Halladay, 165 to 166 now for CC.
Johnson with a base hit up the middle.
And also the most wins in the big league since 2009.
Well, Reed Johnson's just doing a fabulous job of playing since Marlon Byrd was hit in the face with a pitch a couple weeks ago, hitting over 350, playing great defense, and going to make it real tough when Marlon comes back on how he and Fukudome more than likely share time out in right field, or maybe Mike Quade will get a 4-man rotation going out there. Marlon Byrd, one of the best players that Mike Quade has on his team. Fukudome with a 400 on base percentage, and you know, Mariano thought he had it off. But if this gets to be a situation where the tying runs on deck, he'll be in the game to notch another save.
2 on with a nobody out, a 6-run game. Bottom of the 9th. The batter is Castro. Castro 1 for 4 tonight, singled and scored back in the 3rd. And it is Mariano Rivera, who is now throwing for the 2nd time tonight in the Yankee pen.
Well, he'll just play catch, but when it gets close, he'll start throwing in earnest. But right now, it's just to kind of get a little blood flow and make sure it's not a rush, since he's already been up once. A veteran like that knows how to take care of his arm. When Joe calls down, it's almost a suggestion. Just know that you'll be ready and I'll use you if the situation arises. And Mariano gets up when he wants to, plays catch, he'll stand there. We actually have a phone call that we want you on the rubber. You don't have to throw. I just don't want the 30-40 second delay that the phone call comes, you take your jacket off, you finally get there, and then all of a sudden it's rush. There's actually a phone call to the bullpen that's built in, and with some teams that just stand on the rubber.
And what Joe's really thinking about is going into Cincinnati from here to a very fine offensive team. The Cincinnati Reds playing National League style without CC on the mound, going 2-3-4 with Cincinnati. Really doesn't want to use Mariano here if he could help it.
Two and 2 on Castro. Well, as you mentioned, Bobby, the Yankees are off to Cincinnati. That's the ESPN game tomorrow night. Then home for Colorado and Milwaukee. Then to Citi Field, take on the Mets at Cleveland, and then home to Tampa Bay before the All-Star break. Yankees right now 2 back of Boston, pending the outcome of this game. 40-29 on the season, the 2nd best record in the American League. A foul ball. Castro's not real happy with himself right now in this at bat.
Well, as we talked about earlier, running the bases and learning from experience, he's going to learn about the pitch selection at the plate. He's a very good hitter, thinks he could hit everything that's thrown, and the more he sees pitches, the more he'll understand there's some pitches he could hit a little better than those other pitches, and he'll learn to take.
You know, you just look back over your scorecard tonight. The Cubs have not been charged with any errors. But there was the Castro play at second base, came off the bag too early. Aramis Ramirez going to third instead of home. Baker in the right field corner, not coming up with that ball. The ball that drops between Soriano and Johnson out in left center. That's a lot of mistakes. That's a lot of runs that the Cubs handed to the New York Yankees tonight. Down the left field line, and it'll be caught in fair territory by Gardner for the first out. Sports Center comes your way at the conclusion of the ball game tonight here on ESPN. And Carl Ravitch, John Kruk, Barry Larkin are getting ready to bring you some baseball tonight within Sports Center as soon as this game is done. They're just across the street. I think Kruk is tweeting right now.
Oh, he's tweeting.
Here's Baker. And a strike. Rivera continues to play catch almost casually in the Yankee pen down the right field line, just in case any further trouble develops. Baker tonight 0 for 4, drove in a run on a ground ball back in the first. A loss for the Cubs tonight. They would fall 13 games under 500. They are in 5th place in the National League Central and a long ways back. They would be 10 out if they lose this game. The Brewers and Cardinals sharing the National League Central lead at 40 and 33. The Reds are 2 back. The Pirates, even though they just got swept by the Indians this weekend, they're just 4 back.
And Albert Pujols might be out of that St. Louis lineup for a while, which will even make that division tighter.
Sprained his left wrist today. No word on the severity of the injury at this point. Looks like it could be a great race in the National League Central. You'll get a chance to see the Reds on ESPN tomorrow night, the Cardinals on Wednesday night.
Be doing Vandy, Florida tomorrow night.
That's right.
Omaha.
Going to Omaha.
Yeah, 7 a.m. flight. United will be over there.
Buster's a big Vandy guy. Big Vandy.
Me and John Shambi doing the game. I think Mike Patrick and Robin Ventura have been working a few over there.
I'm a big Vandy guy myself. Curtis Casale, the catcher, and Jason Esposito work out. Seen them work over the wintertime. Very good players.
Full count. Girardi wanted that last call.
Joe caught for the Cubs, caught for the Yankees, caught one like that in his pass, and he wanted that one. Come on, that kind of pitch protects my bullpen. Let's go. Another great catcher right there next to him, Tony Pena. One of the best arms in baseball there, Tony Pena, when he was active, and when he throws batting practice now and plays catch, he's still got a hose.
The 3-2. Got him. At the knees to get Baker 2 down.
Movement, location.
So it looks like Rivera might not have to come in.
All I got to do today is give away balls to little boys and make them smile. That's what he did earlier.
The Cubs down to their final out, down by 6, 2 men on, ground ball to third. Look out! It comes up and hits Pena, bounces to Nunez, who threw it directly into the dirt at his feet. Everybody's safe and everybody appears to be okay. A wicked hop at third base.
That's a wicked hop, and Nunez, he throws this into the ground because he picks up the runner with his eyes. He looks up and he goes, I'm going to eat this and not throw it. And when he goes to re-grip it, it just slips out of his hand. But that hop right there almost undresses you.
Pena's down. Pena's down.
Oh. It's an infield hit. Bases loaded. Soriano, the batter, already a 3-run homer tonight. And a strike. Home run, his 14th of the season. Yankees 10, Cubs 4. Boy, those extra runs the Yankees were handed in the top half of the inning look pretty big right now. Fly ball to center field. Granderson with room, and the Yankees win it. They come to Wrigley Field here in Chicago, and the Yankees take 2 out of 3 from the Cubs, as the Yankees remain a game and a half back of the Red Sox for top spot in the American League East. Again, the final, the Yankees 10 to the Cubs 4. Coming up next on ESPN, stay tuned for SportsCenter. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Oral Hershiser, Bobby Valentine, Wendy Nix, and Buster Olney, I'm Dan Schulman saying thanks for watching and so long from Chicago. The Yankees